that's why it's really important to have a plan and understand what your goals are.
In fact, my camel out there is suffering right now with a broken back.
So I actually found Pepe when it was only a couple of hours old, and I'm like, oh, this is a funny meme.
Oh my god.
Yo! Who is this Degen?
The old man is swing trading over years at a time. And it's like, that's where the real money is made.
The answer is a permanent loss. With single-sided staking, you don't have to worry about a permanent loss.
If you're aware, if you're disciplined, you can hone that into further financial growth.
Financial freedom, to where you can actually live life and not have to be constantly living paycheck to paycheck. I mean, that's the ultimate goal, more or less, right?
Oh, there we go. I forgot that the thing automatically unmutes us. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, crypto degenerates, ducks and squirrels, welcome to this here episode 52 of the Degen Roundtable's weekly show. Is Karim finally free? And we're going to give you guys the latest updates on the Karim situation. I'm going to talk to you guys about the icosahedron ecosystem, and our fantastic panelist Jay here is going to do some technical analysis for you guys. It might be a little bit of a shorter show than normal today. You're not going to get your normal news stuff. We're going to be covering a little bit different of a plan today, so that's going to be fun. And I'm also practicing being the producer. Mrs. McGettit was kind enough to show me the ropes a little bit and hand me the keys, so that way I might be able to drive all by myself like a big kid one day. But anyways, moving on past that, we're going to go ahead and introduce our fantastic panel, starting with my co-host, Mr. Nate McGettit. Nate, for the folks who've never seen you before, can you describe a little bit of what you do, who you are, and what's new and exciting with you, my friend?
Yeah, sure thing. So my name is the Ascending Man, Nate McGettit with the Degen Roundtable. And I'm sort of the guy who kind of goes throughout like different chains, looking at different coins, kind of like the memes and stuff like that, right? I'll go around looking at all that stuff, just overall kind of seeing what's going on. As far as when it comes to macros, I'm not the best at it and all that. That's more like Jay up here. Like, he's really awesome at that stuff. He's also a technical analysis wizard, which you'll be getting some of that today. So absolutely fantastic. But yeah, aside from that, as far as you can see it in the label, right? We're going to be talking a little bit about the whole Karim debacle, basically, that ended up happening. And there's a lot of good information that needs to be talked about when it comes to this sort of deal. A lot of people were really, really upset at what ended up happening here. And I think overall, the Pulse Chain community, even with all the very differing of opinions, I do think overall the Pulse Chain community did the right thing. Helped Karim out. And so, yeah, we're going to kind of dive into that a little bit, just kind of talk about it. I think it goes a little bit deeper than people would want to think about it. And so, yeah, I'm just going to kind of throw my opinion into the ring. You guys can go ahead and take it for what you will. But yeah, Jay, how things been with you?
And also, thank you, Nate, for that. And also, Jay, can you introduce yourself, talk a little bit about what you do? Because there might be folks right now watching us either live or on the replay who haven't seen you before. Can you give yourself a brief introduction?
Yeah, sure thing, man. As Nate alluded to earlier, I am the resident great value technical analyst of the Degen Roundtable. You can find me at your local Walmart shelves for a very, very, very cheap price. I have also become much more familiar with like macroeconomic events, not just here in nationally in our shores, but internationally as well. The more I stay in the space, the more I really hone in on becoming an investor, the more I realize that the things that we see in the charts and the psychology of the market cannot be separated, right? So the charts cannot be separated from the fundamentals because the market is run by people and people act on their emotions, even though we advise here at the Roundtable to never make any financial, especially any large financial decisions with emotion, because you tend to get in trouble that way. So the more I mature as an investor, the more I realize that those two things cannot be separated, right? Because the market is run by people. And so that's basically the two areas that I am becoming much more familiar in. And as far as what I've been doing recently, I have actually been adding a little bit more to that skill set. I think times like we have now, right, when we've spent a significant portion of the year basically in a sideways to downwards market trend, I think this is the time where people check out. I think it's actually the time to add to your skills and add to your competency, because when the market is moving extremely fast, you don't have the luxury of being able to study and add to your skill set, right? Because the only thing that you're really concerned about is, okay, how am I going to take profits? When am I going to take profits? Is it the right opportunity to take profits, or is it not, etc.? Like, what are the emerging assets that are coming out of the market, and should I throw money at that because they're probably going to go up into the right as well? And so during this time period, like really over the last month or so, I've really been jumping into on-chain data, and the more I study on-chain data, the more I realize how valuable it is, and how people, like how much more people need to really take a look at on-chain data, because they tell a very, very, very clear story. And to make a very long story short, I know people are kind of down in the dumps right now because of what's been going on in the market. It doesn't really matter what ecosystem you're involved in, right? Unless you're a Bitcoin maxi, then you're kind of a sad panda, right? Because even Ethereum is down almost 50%. Well, not 50%, but close to 50% from its high of about $4,000. Solana about the same. And all the other L1s and L2s and altcoins are down pretty bad right now. And so if you have the time to complain about the market, then you have the time to study. And I guarantee you right now, looking at the on-chain data, we are nowhere close to having a market top. I can say that pretty confidently, just analyzing all of the overlaying all of the different variables that we track on chain. When it comes to calling a market cycle top, none of them are close to telling us that we're at the top. So I think people right now just need to take a step back, take a deep breath, accumulate more dry powder, invest more into those assets that you have a very strong conviction in, and just keep honing your skills, man. Keep adding to your competencies, because the more competent you become in this space, the less likely you're going to feel some type of way when things like this happen, right? Because they will keep happening, right? Even during bull markets, like you guys can see, we go through several periods, and in this case, a very extended period of time where prices are extremely depressed. The sentiment in market is pretty much down, and people have checked out, right? So those things are going to keep repeating. There's never going to come a time in a bull market where it's only up and to the right. That's never going to happen. And so if you'd like to become part of the group of investors who don't panic when these periods of time come our way, then you would be very well served to study as much as you can, and just keep dollar cost averaging to the market, man. So that's my let me get off my soapbox there.
Excellent, broski. I like it. That's a good intro. Very thorough. And for the folks at home who don't know who you guys are, it's time for your turn. If you guys have never seen each other before, then get ready. You're about to get pulled up on screen. If it's your first time chatting for this show, then I'm going to go ahead and pull up your chat. So we're going to do our fantastic round of chat shoutouts. And then Nate has an awesome picture for here. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys. Check this out. This is theoretically where we are. This is our nice little meme here. So
yeah, so just before we get into the chat shoutouts, I just want to kind of expand a little bit on what Jay was talking about. How there's at this certain point in the marketplace, a lot of people, and you're seeing it all over the place, we're like, oh, the bull runs over, time to go back to the bear, right? Well, we call this a bear trap, because people start thinking that, hey, just because it's going down, is it ever going to go up? I don't know, right? And people start feeling like, oh, they missed out, and they start getting scared. It's the whole emotions, right, that you were talking about there, Jay. And so when we're looking at this chart, this is the what do you call it, the Wall Street cheat sheet.
Yep.
And this is just a different version of it here, but basically, yeah, we're going down like this. And you know what, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of looking forward to what we're gonna be having over here, because frankly, things are gonna be popping off real soon. What is gonna spark it, I'm not sure. There's a lot of different things that could. Cutting of rates, that would be one thing, though, where we get that final crash, and even then, like, I'm I'm not even sure we're going to get the crash when they cut, because the market, and I've been saying this for a couple of months now, the market has been pricing in the Fed pivot. They felt like the Fed should have pivoted in like either July or maybe even June. I think it was right around June. Like I was really hearing a lot of the market saying, yeah, they're going to pivot. They're going to pivot. And then all of a sudden it's like a week or two before the actual meetings, then it's all of a sudden like, oh, they're not pivoting yet. And it's just, the sentiment is there, so hold on, guys, keep DCing, get as much money as possible into the market, because this is where with you putting in as much money as possible into the market now, that's when you're going to make the maximum amount of money come when things actually shoot off. And that's why it's the renewed optimism, right? This is when you start believing again. I believe that I am actually going to make it. Okay. When things start popping off like that, we are so close to that right now. And then once we hit a euphoria, that's when I'm going to start getting yelled at, because I'm going to be like, hey guys, I think I'm going to start pulling money out, because I think we're basically at the top. And people are going to be like, no, we're going to go 10x higher. It's going to go 10x higher. And at that point, like, you've you've hit that top. So you're going to want to be de-risking. You want to be taking some of that cash out. Anyways, I'll go ahead and stop sharing this here though. And yeah, let's get to the chat shout outs, because you guys are awesome. Thank you for being here.
You're absolutely right, guys. It's time for chat shoutouts, and we're going to start off with our very own Kenturian 54X showing up at 0350 or 0343 Central. So that's let's see, like, oh man, if we start at 7 o'clock, he is like 3 or 4 hours early. So what's up, Degens? Jay mentioned last week a possibility of not having a 31-day cycle and having an extended cycle. Think we would be on day 50 something with more dip in the near future. Jay, you want to give that some quick thoughts real fast before we run off to the other chats?
Yeah, sure thing. So when I did the TA for last Sunday's show, I made it very clear that having a 31-day cycle is like extremely unlikely. I would go so far as to say that it's like 99.99% that we're not going to have a 31-day cycle. It's just it would be one of one, right? It would be the first time in Bitcoin's history of like 60-day cycles that we would have had a 31-day cycle, right? I think I've seen as low as like 39 or somewhere around the low 40-day cycles, right? But never that low. And so the probabilities that I was leaning on and still am are that we would either have what some people call a failed cycle, right? Which means that the low of your cycle, right, does not occur at the very end of the 60-day cycle, right? You would refer to that as a mid-cycle low, where you have the lowest price point in the cycle somewhere in the middle, and then the cycle low, right, at the end of your 60-day cycle would be a higher low, right? So that would be referred to as a failed cycle. And then the other scenario that I was speaking about during our stream last Sunday, which now seems more probable, is that we would have an extended cycle, right? So past day 60, I believe is about September 3rd. And so we have a possibility of extending all the way up into day 70, potentially probably around day 80, although that one is also very low likely, right? Probably more around day 70-ish for an extended cycle. And because the bears are still in strong control of the market, right? The trend is still down and to the right. We have lower highs and lower lows. We closed the month of August like this was the worst monthly close that we've had all year, right? And I'm not saying this to FUD anybody. This is just a matter of fact, right? Like when I explain technical analysis to people, I try to be a very like facts, numbers based person and try to extract as much emotion out of it as possible, right? The month of August was the worst monthly close that we've had this year, right? And so the bears are still in strong control of the market. And because we had an extremely weak monthly close for August, then you open up the possibility, right? A greater possibility that you're going to sweep the $49,000 low for Bitcoin and potentially head down into the next area of support, which I believe is around $43,000 or so. Don't quote me on that yet. I don't have my charts quite in front of me. I'll give a more detailed explanation if we go over some technical analysis later down the stream. But right now, the probabilities are still within the Bears' favor. And so, will we sweep $49,000? I don't know, but the probabilities are very strong that are very high that we will, right? But it really all depends. Anything can change in a snap of a finger, just like that, right? The market can pivot on a dime, and it just basically says 49,000 was the low. We will never see below $50,000 Bitcoin again for the foreseeable future, and we're going to go up and to the right, right? The best that we can do is, or Will always talks about it, right? Is just tell campfire stories. At the very minimum, the campfire stories that we try to tell here at the Degen Roundtable is based on data, and we try to give you as clear a picture as possible, right? But TLDR right now, the momentum is still with the Bears, but that could all change at the snap of a finger.
Excellent. All righty. I think that and we are going to go into TA Jay as soon as I'm done here with these chat shoutouts and things. So moving right along in the chat shoutouts. Thank you again, Kenturian, for showing up early and being ready to rock and roll. We're glad to have you, broski. Up next, we have Mr. Moonpilled Rational Optics. What is up, D gentlemen? What's up to you too, good sir? I would normally salute with the right hand, but I gotta be working the mouse right now, so you're just gonna have to bear with me. But it's good to see you, Moonpill. Good to see you, especially for those of you that don't know, Boogie and Twinkie were live just a little bit ago, and I was chatting with Moonpill over there, and we were having a good time. So shout out to Twinkie, shout out to Boogie. Go give them a follow. You can check out their tacos and kimchi streams. I believe it is every Sunday. I'm not sure if they have a time slot, but that's what's going on over there. Next up, we've got Coach X Alien.pls dropping the alien signs. Good to see you, Coach. Glad to have you. Welcome to the Degen Roundtable chats. I believe that we spoke with him on Whiskey Wednesday, didn't we, Nate? Coach from the Powers of the Grays currency fellers and things.
Yeah. Pulse the Gray's currency, UFO, and all that. Yeah, he's been on a couple of times. But I'll go ahead and announce this here, right? We are officially going to have him on as the special guest this Wednesday. And there's also, it's not just going to be him, somebody else. And I'll leave this one a mystery, okay? So you guys got to tune in to see who it is. But he's not going to be alone. There's going to be one other that's going to be popping up as well. All having to do, obviously, with the Gray's currency, but a fantastic project they got going on over there. You'll get a lot more details during that time as well. But yeah, it's one of my favorites, and in fact, that might be one. I see you down here, Farmer Jay. That might possibly be one of those that I want to actually be DCing into. So, but maybe not. We'll see.
Yeah, speaking of Farmer Jay is the next up in our chat shoutouts. When no more poor. Farmer Jay, you're not poor. You're already rich. Rich in friendship and rich in love and rich in community. Welcome to the Degen Roundtable stream. And for those of you guys that don't know Farmer Jay, he joins us almost every week over on Book Club, which we have on Friday, by the way. For those of you that can't read this, I don't know how good the pixelation is. I can barely read it on my screen, but it says Sunday is our news show. Friday is our book show, and then Wednesday is our guest show. For those of you guys that don't know, you can always check us out there. And then the scrolling Chiron down below sends out as well. But welcome, Farmer Jay. Good to see you, buddy. Next up, we've got another fantastic friend of the show. We got Jemmy. Hell yeah, she is early. Happy Sunday, gentlemen. Happy Sunday to you, Jemmy. Glad to hear that you're doing all right over there in California, the correct place. I remember now. I know you've reminded me about a dozen times, but it's good to see you, Jemmy. Excellent, and glad to have you on stream with us. Next up, we've got Jaken Trevelyan. Sup, Degen gang. When in doubt, DCA. You guys are the best. That's some pretty solid advice. I gotta say, DCAing when you don't know what to do, like you can't go wrong as long as you are planning to hold for a long time. So maybe you might be holding 4 years before that DCA is profitable. You might be holding for 20 years. Who knows? But when in doubt, like throw money at it. That's the way I figure. You back up that dump truck and just dump money towards your problems, because we can always create more money by going and working at McDonald's or going and selling ourselves on the street, or doing whatever, starting up an OnlyFans or maybe a SoundCloud or something. But good to see you, Jake and Trevelyan. Definitely DCA guys whenever you are confused or whatever the case may be. Next up, oh, look at that. Moonpilled Rational Optics is it's giving us a little bit of a song that he believes he can buy. He believes he can touch the sky, thinks about it every DCA, and he spends his risk and buys away. Fantastic. Good to see you. Up next, though, we got Paul Sachs with the beep boop boop. He's got the little robot. I'm not sure what he's referring to with the robots, but that's excellent. Good to see you, Paul. We were having a nice little chat earlier. Glad to see you hopping on in the comments over here. And I believe we'll just we'll just go ahead and left hand Roman salute. Yes, there we go. Left hand salute. All right. I think that is all for chat shout outs. So good to see you guys all in here. Oh yeah, and then Moonpilled Rational Optics again, giving us a nice good compliments. Jay's the brains, Will's the brawn, Nate's the wild card. I fucking love it, guys. We're the fucking we are the three amigos this Sunday, hanging out, having a good time. So that does it for chat shout outs. Jay,
Chad
would
just
you like
arrived
to...
in.
What's that?
Hello, fellow based crypto bros.
Oh shit! Look
Chad.
at that. We got Chad Donnerschwanz. Hello, fellow based crypto bros. Hello, Chad Donnerschwanz. Good to see you too, amigo. A classic. Is that a Pepe on his icon? I can't quite see, but I know it's a ripped guy standing on the surface of the moon with some sort of helmet. I'm pretty sure it's Pepe inside an astronaut helmet. But it's good to see you, Chad. Welcome to the Degen Roundtable. And I'm gonna guess that that's a thumbs up. All I see is a square. Perhaps that's an iPhone thing. I don't know. But anyways, welcome, Chad. Good to see you. Agent J, are you ready for us to hop into some technical analysis, my friend?
Yes, sir. Go ahead and bring up my screen.
There you are.
Okay, let me go ahead and just tab over really quick. So we are on the monthly chart for Bitcoin. The reason why I wanted to start on the monthly chart with you folks today is because it eliminates a lot of the noise when you observe things from the very large time frames, right? And so what did I say a little bit earlier in the show? That August was unfortunately the worst month of 2024 so far, right? If you notice that for the most part, every single monthly close up until August, we have managed to close above the bottom of the range that Bitcoin has been trading in for the overwhelming majority of the year. Right, we have closed above the bottom of this range, which is around $59,000. Right, call it 60K. Right, and the month of August closed at 58,000. We'll call it 59,000. Right, and so the unfortunate reality is that the bears are still in relatively strong control of the market. Right, if you see here, we've had a strong downtrend, lower highs on the monthly, and then also lower lows, and so. Also, you have to consider the fact that Bitcoin is below its long-term bull market trend line, right? This red line right here, this upward sloping trend line, that is the bull market trend line that I was hoping that we would recover. But look at where we got rejected, right? We got rejected at the wick. This wick got rejected right at the bull market trend line and also rejected at the middle of our parallel range. On the Sunday show, I was telling folks, look, we closed the third week of August fairly strong, and if we wanted to have a chance at remaining bullish for the remainder of the month and having a strong move into the first week of September, right, the last month of Q3, well, we would have had to do three things really that we failed to do. One was recover that bull market trend line. We failed there. Recover the middle, right, of the parallel range. We failed there because the middle of the parallel range is basically our pivot point. Whenever we've had the opportunity of reclaiming it, Bitcoin tends to rally to the upside fairly strongly, right? We got rejected there. I can't show it here right now, but the middle of that range, right, during the show was also the 0.786 fib level taken from our swing high to our swing low. And so we actually had a lot of stiff resistance at the middle of this range combined with our long-term bull market trend line, and we got squarely rejected there, right? And so the bears are still in strong control of the market, and what's going to happen, yet to be determined, but if we go over and switch to the daily chart here, so we can actually show this 60-day cycle in greater detail. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and take out this alternate cycle count because that one did not play out in the way that I thought it would. We are currently on day 59 of Bitcoin's 60-day cycle, right? So day 60 is going to be Tuesday. September 3rd, right? So just right after Labor Day. And so when I said that we had the potential to have an extended cycle for Bitcoin, I would expect, right, if next week we had some terrible macro news come out and it really flooded the market even more so, then I could see this cycle extending probably up to around day 70, which should be right at the end of the second week of September, right? Is it possible that Bitcoin can extend all the way up until day 80? It certainly is possible, but the amount of times we've had 80 plus 6-day cycles, I could probably count that on one hand, right? In the same vein, we've had very few 60-day cycles that was less than like 45 days, right? I could probably count that on one or two hands. And so the likelihood of us extending all the way up into 80 days before sweeping this low here of about 49,600, right, is very low. So I would expect if we were to get significant weakness in the market next week, we would probably sweep this $49,000 low sometime within the next 1 to 2 weeks, right? And so what can we expect in terms of targets, right? If we do manage to sweep that low, where can we head down to? Well, here's the thing. Very simple. Let's go ahead and take a look at any type of horizontal support that we might have for Bitcoin, right? Well, the first thing that really stands out is this chunk of price action that occurred here from the time of December 2023 to about the first week of February before we had this strong breakout to the upside, right? And so if we would lose the $49,000 high, right, you could see we found support at this cycle high. If you guys have been following the TA for a while, you know that cycle highs tend to serve as horizontal support for price when they head back down there. And that's exactly what happened here, right? Price found support right around that day 58 high that we had here early in the early part of January of this year, right? And so if we were to lose that $49,000 price point, then the next reasonable area for Bitcoin to find support in is this box, which is going to be within the range of $45,000 to as low as $38,000, right? I know that's not numbers that people want to hear, but again, I'm just showing you where, like visually, where the next big chunk of horizontal support is going to fall for Bitcoin. And that is going to be within this box between $45,000 and $38,000. Now, what are we looking at in terms of, like, if we were to get a little bit more accurate with it, right? This move right here, if we are to get more downside, this looks like a zigzag pattern, right? You have a 5-wave sequence to the downside here, you have a 3-wave sequence up, and then we're looking for another 5-wave sequence to the downside, right? That would be a 5-3-5, which is the Elliott wave structure that you're looking for when you are considering a zigzag pattern. And so a very common extension for zigzags, if this were to play out, right, is the 1-for-1 fib extension, which would place it, right, at about $46,200, right, give or take some change. And so if you were to get a classic zigzag, like right on the nose, then your 1-for-1 extension of this entire move is at $46,200 for Bitcoin, right? However, it is not it's not uncommon for zigzags to extend to about the 1236 to the 1382 fib extension levels, right? And so if we were to lose this area of support here at the basically at the very top of this box, then these fib extension levels fall within the next major horizontal area of support for Bitcoin, right? If we were to extend past the 1-for-1, I would think that $40,000, right? So right around this 1382 extension is probably the area that's going to hold fairly strong, right? Not only do you have a major fib there, right? You're also at the very bottom, right, of this chunk of price action, right? You can see here that that $40,000 area is right around the very bottom of this chunk of price action around here. And also $40,000 is a psychological number for Bitcoin, right? And so if we were to lose $49,000, right? If we were to sweep the $49,000 low, then you can expect price to find pretty strong support at the very minimum, at the very bottom. I think $40,000 is that, right? But my first target area is this extension here of about $46,000 for Bitcoin, right? So that's your price targets when it comes to your bearish price targets, right? Price targets to the downside. Now, how about price targets to the upside, right? What do we need to reclaim in order for us to start getting bullish again, right? What I would like to see for Bitcoin to start is to reclaim the very bottom of our parallel range, right? That $60,000 number is very important for us to reclaim because we've spent the overwhelming majority of 2024 above $60,000, right? That's a psychological number for the most part. People basically, well, the market and the chart basically tells us that people believe the fair value of Bitcoin at this current moment is around that $60,000, right? Which is why it spent a considerable amount of time, monthly closes above there, right? So I would love to see, in order for me to get a little bit more bullish again, is Bitcoin reclaiming the $60,000 price point, right? Psychological area of support, and then also the bottom of your parallel range here. The next big target, right, that I want to see out of Bitcoin is to reclaim the 20-week moving average and also the 111-day moving average. What is the 20-week moving average currently at for Bitcoin? Well, the 20-week moving average is sitting at about $63,000, right? So after 60K, I would like to see Bitcoin reclaim the 20-week moving average, not just because it's a pivot point, right? That 20-week is a pivot point for price. It is also going to be good for our altcoins, right? Because when Bitcoin closes above its 20-week moving average, then the altcoins tend to stay relatively healthy or move sideways, if not slightly up and to the right. And I think a lot of people would be happy for their altcoins to stop bleeding against their Bitcoin valuations, which they've basically been doing for the entirety of this bull market, right? So 20-week moving average at $63,000 is my next target. Let's go ahead and take a look at where the 111-day moving average is currently sitting at. Right? Let's toggle on the 111-day.
While you're looking at that, Jay, there's a comment that came up. I'm going to go ahead and pull it up on screen. It is related to TA from Mr. B Beyond All. Looks like we're reversing the downtrend with former higher highs if it holds the mid price. I just wanted to let you know that comment came in. I'm not entirely sure what it means. Okay. Do you have thoughts on that?
Yeah, we'll go over that after I finish this little segment here.
All right, let me know.
Okay, so the 111-day is also around $63,000, right? So your 20-week and then your 111-day fairly close in price. The 111-day currently is sitting at $63,500, right? And so those numbers, right, are important because they are significant pivot points for price, right? When price reclaims the 111-day, the 20-week, it usually is a signature of reversals in momentum, right? And then finally, one of the long-term moving averages that we like to keep track of here at the Degen Roundtable is the 200-day moving average for Bitcoin. Let's go ahead and check out where that moving average is. Once again, the 200-day moving average, look at that, $63,700. So is it like I hope that you guys are getting a clear picture of where the pivot point right now is in terms of price, right? It's around $63,000 for Bitcoin, right? So after reclaiming the bottom of that parallel range, reclaiming $63,000 for Bitcoin is extremely important because a lot of your long-term moving averages for Bitcoin is sitting right there, anywhere between 63 to 63.7, right? And then finally, sorry, I got too excited there and moved my mic. Finally, in order for Bitcoin to get super bullish, right? This is kind of the last major area of resistance, right? And I'm talking about reclaiming your long-term bull market trend line, and then also reclaiming the middle of this parallel range that we have spent all of 2024 trading in until just recently, right? Because like the 20-week moving average is a key pivot point for short-term price movements, right? This $65,000 price point for Bitcoin is our pivot point for like long-term price action, right? Because this spans half a year's worth of price action, right? So reclaiming $65,000 is key if you want to have Bitcoin have a chance at getting bullish again, like getting bullish with strong momentum. Until that happens, bears are in very, very strong control of the market. And then finally, to Beyond All's comment, let me just read that once again. It looks like we are reversing the downtrend by forming higher highs if it holds at the mid price. So if you could clarify a little bit for me, Beyond, I would appreciate it, because that's not what I'm seeing on my chart right here. We don't have higher highs, right? We have had no such reversal. We've had a high here, which was the high that we had in March of this year, a lower high here in April, a lower high here in May, a lower high here in July, and now a lower high here in August.
Isn't that really concerning? Doesn't that mean usually it's like we're just going to continue to go down?
Yeah, that's what the prevailing trend is, right? Lower lows, lower lows, lower lows, lower lows, right? And so Beyond, if you could clarify for me, right? What I'm seeing here on my chart is not at all any higher highs, right? And so I'm not seeing any reversals at the current moment, right? We still have lower highs and lower lows for price. Concerning, yes, if you were thinking in the short term, but what part of the Elliott wave sequence are we in now? We are in the macro wave 4. What is characteristic of the wave 4? It tends to be longer in terms of time compared to wave 2, and price tends to do this kind of thing, right? Sideways and choppy, right? I mean, you look at the price action, man. Sideways and choppy, right? This is the kind of price action that flushes people out of the market because they get impatient. But if you were in the camp, as I am in, and I believe the rest of the team is in, and the overwhelming majority of the community is in, you are in the camp of we are still in line for a traditional 4-year cycle, right? And so this macro wave 4 is par for the course. The structure is par for the course. The price action is par for the course. Nothing surprising, right? So if you're a short-term investor, I can understand where you're coming from, right? I can empathize that you're kind of scared and you're unsure because price has been down and to the right for such a significant period of time. But if you're a macro investor, right? If you have a macro 10,000 foot view of the market, then this is par for the course for you, right? This is not concerning. The only thing that you're thinking about is, like I mentioned earlier, learning more skills, increasing your competency if you are going to engage in the market to the degree that you see us engaging in, right? And to dollar cost average more into those assets that you have strong conviction in, right? Okay. So I would disagree with Beyond All's comment. Maybe he's looking at smaller time frames, but here at the Degen Roundtable, my friend, we kind of tend to stick to the larger time frames because we are not day traders, right? We are swing traders, so we make trades anywhere between the time frame of 60 days to like several months, right? So I think he might be talking about a reversal in smaller time frames, but as far as larger time frames goes, my friend, like I said, the bears still have control of the market, right? If we would have made a higher high, if we would have taken this high right here of, what was the exact high here? 70,016.
Yeah,
right?
it was close to 69, 420. That's what I remember.
Yeah. If we would have taken this high here beyond, then I would agree with you. Strong reversal, right? Because you would have broken the downtrend and you would have reclaimed all of these long-term moving averages and pivot points in price. But unfortunately, that's not what happened, right? We got rejected in the middle, and now we closed the month of August below $60,000, right? So if you want to clarify, brother, you're more than welcome to do so, but that's not what I'm seeing on my chart at the current moment.
Excelente.
So,
Mr.
if you could bring up my screen real quick,
Yeah, I was
something a
going
little
to ask.
bit interesting that I'm looking at. So, kind of what I'm looking at here is we're at about 173 days right now, and I was kind of wondering to myself, what happened last cycle? Like, did we ever hit this period of just boring, like kind of it's just chopping up and down, but we're also slowly moving downwards, right? And so, like, I just decided to kind of go back over here, and before it's sort of the climb back up out of the bear into the bull until the final rip, right? It's like this one here was sort of the same kind of deal if you look at it on the daily, but it was a lot quicker. It didn't last nearly as long. So then if you actually go back here, and this here was the pandemic, right? The pandemic crash. And so we kind of had our own little crash as well. That is kind of the same thing. It's a Japan crash of Pokemon Island, right? And
My man said Pokemon Island, bro.
But if you look at it here, like we hit a peak right here, and this one here particularly is 482 days, which is a long time. But if you look at this, it's always continually going back down, right? And then it's like, oh, now we have some new hope, pops back up, and then all of a sudden, bam, but reverses real quickly, and then we start going up again. And I think this point is kind of what we're looking for right now, because we're just seeing this spot right here. So it's kind of like, bam, we get hit, and we did reverse, and we did go back up, but now we're starting to see this downward trend again. And I do believe that's kind of where the scary thing right now for people is, because it's like, hey, at least, when the pandemic deal happened, well, at least we started trending upwards. And so if we were to actually start at that point, right, and move in, yeah, it's higher highs, And I almost believe that possibly that's what Beyond is talking about right over here, is kind of hoping for that. However, we're not hitting that, man, and it's just this downward slope. So I'm not exactly sure on how this is gonna turn out, but I kind of personally I think we're gonna start seeing higher highs from here. Yeah. Like I think we've had just about enough.
Here's the thing, Nate, right? Since you have your chart up, I would like to point out that the time period from the top of the macro wave 1 last cycle to where the macro wave 2 ended, which was at the bottom of COVID, right? That wick that you saw in the chart there, that was like 270 days that people spent in a downtrend, right? From the top right there, Nate, to the very bottom. Yeah. How many days is that exact, Nate?
260.
260, right? So that was like 3/4 out of the year that you spent in a downtrend, right? So, and that was at the start of the last bull market. And so you have to understand that there are going to be periods of time, extended periods of time, that we are going to spend either moving sideways or down and to the right. It's just inevitable. Okay.
Absolutely. And I want to draw everyone's attention to this side over here, right? So this is what it literally looks like. This is what we're experiencing. I mean, if you watch this, it's like it's boring, right? But then all of a sudden you start getting this, right?
Yeah.
This, and yeah, this is where people can get worried. Imagine being here at this point in time, and then all of a sudden this happens, right? You see how that parabolic feeling goes,
Yeah.
And
Nate,
so you can imagine that this is going to happen.
Zoom out again real quick. I really want to hammer this point along home with you, right? So we now established that from the top of the wave 1 to the bottom of the COVID crash was 260 days. Now, from the bottom of the COVID crash, can you take your time tool and when did we break the top of wave 1? When did we break the top of wave 1, Nate? How many days more?
Looks like right here, 234.
Right? Bro,
30.
so you spent basically like you spent
2 years.
1.25 years, right? So about 5 quarters waiting before you took the highs of the wave 1, bro. And you're telling me we're about 120 or so days, I believe, into the macro wave 4, and you're telling me you're getting impatient? Bros, man, like
Seriously, Jay, you're making a point here. Look at this. Okay, so with where we're at right here, okay, imagine like seeing this. Okay, we're finally starting to move up. Okay, all of a sudden, bam, drops. Dropped again, just like over here with COVID. Damn,
Yeah.
I'm selling. Okay, then you sell. Wow. Okay, you're getting out, and you just have to wait like a couple of months later, and then all of a sudden this.
Yeah.
Bye.
And you're toast. There goes your position. All gone.
Yeah, you fail.
Bro, this is what we mean, man. Crypto is a fucking war of attrition. But like, look how crazy the move was after we swept the high, after we punched through. Look how crazy that move is, bro. But that move was made after more than $500 days of fucking waiting and sitting on your hands and dollar cost averaging into the market, right? That was your reward. And you mean to tell me you can't wait 100 days?
This is why, like,
those who sold right here because of this big red candle, and then this happens.
This is why, like, one of the most important, like, substantive characteristics you can develop is like delayed gratification and understanding that some things just take time, and you're not going to get rich quick. And if you do, then you got to like chalk it up as a fluke.
Yeah.
You know,
that shit is crazy to me, bro. It's crazy to me.
fucking-
Like, look at your reward. Like, just by being patient, bro. Look at that.
Oh, but wait, there's more. Hi, folks. Billy Mays here.
Right? It's just it's crazy how that happens, you know.
Yeah. So really, when we say patience, like time in the market, I know everybody likes to throw that meme around. There's a significant amount of truth into those statements, and this is why we say, we encourage, like, look, yes, there are going to be times of pain. There are going to be times when it doesn't feel so good to be so convicted in crypto. But like time and time again, the 4-year cycle has not failed you. Right? So just like hold strong, bro. Like, man.
We've got a follow-up comment from Beyond whenever you want to dig into that as well. But Nate, go ahead and continue with your thought.
Oh no, I was just gonna ask, hey, could we do like an ETH and Pulse chart as well? Because I know a lot of people are curious about that. Because it's like when we're looking at Bitcoin, it's like, okay, this is where Bitcoin was at. However, a lot of people, especially with a lot of our viewers right now, they're extremely curious on like number one, like, hey, my coin Pulse chain, like, how's that doing? But then number two, we're all kind of waiting on ETH right now, and so I was just wondering if we could kind of go through TA on that.
No, it's up to Will. He's running the show.
Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's address Beyond's comment, and I'll go ahead and I'll pull it up, and I'll do a quick round of chat shoutouts actually.
Yeah.
So quick round of chat shoutouts, everybody. So let me go ahead and fix the cameras. So that's a click number 1 and a click
He's
number
Will,
2.
the producer.
Look at that. I'm figuring it out. And thank you, Mrs. Producer, is taking care of a whole bunch of the things behind the scenes as well. So thank you, Mrs. Producer, for finding chats and doing an excellent job with starring them and all that stuff as well, whilst I'm thinking of things. So hopping right on into chat shoutouts again. I'm going to re-shout out Mr. Paul Sachs, beep boop beep beep boop bop, with a little robot emoticon over there. We got a question here from Farmer J. What are your top 3 coins you're looking into DCAing in the next week? And let's keep these answers short and sweet. I'm going to be buying Hex. I'm going to be buying Pulse, and I'm going to be buying PulseX. Those are my 3 coins. Nate, what do you got for 3 coins?
9mm, which I've already done. and then 9-inch, and then I'm thinking possibly either Axis or the Grays for next week.
Okay, PTGC, excellent.
Mhm.
What about you, Agent J? Do you have a DCA plan for 3 coins that you're looking to DCA in the next week?
In order of importance, Solana Aerodrome Fetch.
Solana Aerodrome Fetch.
Yep.
Excellent. Alrighty. So that covers that. You guys aren't getting any explanation from us. You're just getting the coin. So haha. We've got Chad over here. Hello, fellow based crypto bros. Excelente. We've got a very own doctor in the house, Dr. Crypto Sloth. He's going to take all your teeth, pull them out of your head, fix them up, plant them right back up in there, fill them with gold, fill them with candy, fill them with confetti, and you're going to have a great time if you guys go and visit Dr. Crypto Sloth, one of our favorite doctors in the crypto space. We've got quite a few medical professionals in the crypto space. Shout out to Dr. H, the chiropractor, Tam, dental assistant, Dr. Crypto Sloth, fucking pulls your teeth out, Dr. Hexologist. Oh man, dang it. There's another one that I know that I'm forgetting here. Oh shoot. Oh well, it'll come to me. But yeah, shout out to all the medical professionals in all the fields, and especially the ones
Dr.
near and dear.
Hexologist.
Yeah, I think I got him, Dr. Hexologist. With the Sabi's prostate exam.
Yo, Hexo posted a fucking hilarious meme on his X the other day. I'll pull it up later and share it if we got time. That shit had me dying, bro.
Okie dokie. We've got the follow-up comment from Beyond All. I'm gonna actually save that one for the end of the chat shout-out, since we can roll that right into the Bitcoin discussion before we go into covering ETH and Pulse Chain. We've also got Mr. Angry Twinkie. What's good, people? What is good to you too, sir? Mr. Angry Twinkie. Glad to see you, broski. Good to have you in the chats on the show. Oh, excuse me. Up next, we've got our very own Degen Roundtable, Dace Northal. My boys crushing it as always. Shout out to Dace. For those of you guys that don't know, Dace runs the Telegram Tuesdays alongside Agent J here and sometimes some of the other folks in the Telegram, which you guys can join by scanning that QR code. Let's see if I can point at it. There we go. That QR code down there, which will take you directly over to the Degen Roundtable Telegram chat. I can also, since I'm a clever lad, I can post the join our Telegram copy thing, and you guys can have a URL that will take you right over where you need to go. So I'm dropping that in the chat as we speak, but you guys will see it about 7 seconds before I say it. So right on over there, join our Telegram, t.me/DRT join now. So shout out to Dace. Good to see you, broski. Glad that we can have you in the chats. And we're happy that you think we are crushing it, because we certainly think we are as well. It's a good time. So there's Mr. Dace. RH Max has shown his face as well. RH Max, sup, gents, and the sloth character. What's up to you too, good sir? Glad to see you. Welcome to the Degen Roundtable stream. It's good to have you, broski. I know that RH Max is a big fan of the hex staking and all that good stuff. And so that's what we're going to be talking about in the latter half of the show, is specifically the icosahedron protocols and ecosystem and all of that stuff that our good friend Alex, Mr. Magic Beard McWhirtle, has developed for us. So shout out to everybody in the chats, and shout out to Alex as well for creating that cool thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring up Mr. Beyond All. It's not confirmed, but if the current price holds as a reversed head and shoulder structure, the trend. Oh, it is not confirmed, but if the current price holds as a reversed head and, I don't know if that's a sentence. Anyways, the trend is not reversed now, but will reverse as long as it holds up the current price action. Jay, does this mean stuff and things and stuff?
Yeah. So the head and shoulders pattern is one of the more popular chart patterns that people like to take a look at. Yes, and so like that's certainly possible, right? If you were to break the resistance of the left shoulder of the inverse head and shoulders pattern, but again, so I would really like to see what other variables you consider beyond when you're doing your TA, because I don't and I do not recommend making an analysis based on a singular variable, and certainly not just based off of chart patterns. Right?
I like that.
I do not advise that. I do not do that myself. And so again, right, like you're not here in the stream with us, so I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. I'm not going to assume anything for you, but I would really like to see what other variables you're looking at in terms of your analysis, because I would like to I'm certainly willing to change my views if you can like provide me a compelling scenario, right? And so I would really like to see like how you perform your analysis. But if you're only thinking about the head and shoulders pattern, is it possible? Yes, that we get bullish if we break the resistance level of the left shoulder. But so so fucking hilarious talking about chart patterns, bro. I was like in support and resistance.
Great one, Will.
Yes, because that would mean, right? Because it's in an inverse, that would mean that the parabolic move up, right, is next. Okay, so that would make me a very, very, very happy camper, right? If this is indeed an inverse head and shoulders pattern. But that's all I have to say on that aspect.
Okie dokie. We've got one final chat as well from Conspiracy Crypto, aka Ramon Creel. What's up, Ramon? Good IRL friend I've met in real life. He's a super cool cat. He's asking us what is up as well. It's good to see you too, sir. And RH Max has an excellent question for the folks in the audience. Does anyone know how many sides is the shape, the platonic shape, an icosahedron? So it's a whole bunch of triangles. This is our fantastic icosahedron friend that my brother 3D printed out for me over the weekend. So shout out to my brother Sam. We're going to be talking about a lot of the stuff that goes on in the icosahedron space. So this is my good friend with his kick-ass wig over here. But for the folks at home that have not already read the answers in the chats, go ahead and give your best guess as to how many sides are on an icosahedron. There's also another name for this. Or no, never mind. I'm thinking of a different one. I was thinking of the pentagon one. That's a totally different. But anyways, yeah. So
I was literally thinking of one thing when he said that. He asked that, and I was like, "How many sides are on there?" Magic the Gathering and their dice. How many is on there? That's like the only thought the only direction I went.
So it is the correct answer. You're right, Nate. It is 20 from like a 20-sided die from Dungeons and Dragons or oh shoot, what other games? What other game? Magic the Gathering has 20-sided die. There's a bunch of games that have a 20-sided die. But the way that you know that there's 20 sides is if you take the two opposite ends, you will look at one of them, you will see that there are 5 triangles touching that point, and then on the exact opposite side there's another 5 triangles, and then each one of these triangles is attached. There's like a whole bunch of triangles in the middle, and if you notice there's one triangle attached to each one of these on the left and on the right. Then you got your 5, you've got your other 5, and then you've got your top 5, and then you've got your bottom 5. So 5 times 4 is 20-sided, and that's your 20-sided dice, your icosahedron. So shout out to all of my platonic shapes and platonic friends and platonic individuals that are out there. So we want to do ETH and Pulse Chain TA. Let's do a quick expedited version of those, Mr. Agent J, if you don't mind pulling up your chart of the charts and and wiping that grin off of your face.
This is like my man asking me to do a TLDR version of TA, bro. Like, oh
the
god.
TLDR. Yeah, there is no TLDR version of TA. You can take as long as you want, bro. I just want to give you a little bit of grief there. But I'm gonna go ahead and pull up your Chartity chart program there, so the folks at home can see it. I'm gonna go ahead and switch our background to generic. There we go. All right, Jay. Let me know if you want me to full screen it or if we want to keep you down over on the side as you are.
No, that's totally fine. If you could certainly full screen it if you want people to have a closer look, but I'm sure they can zoom.
Well, there we go.
Okay. Actually, let me also zoom.
Ooh, Ethereum over the dollar.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice.
Yeah. So ETH/USD valuation. Go ahead, Will.
I was just going to ask if you ever chart Ethereum over Ethereum like a total boss would, because total bosses chart things over Ethereum. But
I do chart ETH Bitcoin valuation and the Bitcoin. Well, same chart, just inversed. But yes, I do chart. I actually chart a lot of things against Bitcoin because Bitcoin runs the market.
Well, my question was, do you chart ETH over Ethereum, which would have been just a flat line of 1. So, anyways, please continue and ignore my terrible attempts at humor here.
Oh goodness. Okay, well, so Ethereum is basically in the same camp as Bitcoin, right? Just a little bit worse. Because Ethereum is still an altcoin, and Ethereum will bleed a lot heavier if Bitcoin is bleeding, right? And so for Ethereum, it actually already dipped all the way down into the very bottom of the next area of support, right? Major horizontal support. Because just like Bitcoin had a range that it was trading in for the majority of the year, Ethereum also had a range that it was trading in for the majority of the year, right? We were hovering around the $4,000 price area at the highs, and then at the lows, right, we were hovering around $2,850, right? So that was the range, that was the parallel range that Ethereum was trading in, and the pivot point was somewhere around here at about 3,300, right? And so what Ethereum did was it lost the very bottom of that range during the Pokemon Island scare, right?
For the folks at home who might not know what the Pokemon Island scares, can you give it a brief description?
Racist.
For the folks at home who might not know, when the Pokemon Island scares, when Japan had that massive crash just a wee bit ago. Not the
Yeah, they raised the
1945
rates,
one,
crashing
but
everything.
the 2024 one.
Yeah. So when the Japanese yen carry trade unravel, this is what happened here, right? Ethereum wicked all the way down to about $2,100, and surprise, surprise, 2,100 is at the very bottom of the next major area of support for Ethereum, right? Before we had our breakout here in the early part of January, Ethereum spent a considerable amount, well, not considerable, but a decent amount of time hovering around this range, right? About 2 months or so. And wouldn't you know it, wicked all the way down to the very bottom of that range. I actually think that if we were to get more downside action, Ethereum is looking a lot better than Bitcoin in terms of support, right? Because the very bottom of this box here, right, you notice that we have a ton of horizontal support, right, around $2,100, right? $2,100 is around the cycle high for a considerable amount of our 60-day cycles, right? 60-day cycle high here, high here, high here, high here. And so this $2,100 price point for Ethereum is actually extremely strong horizontal support, right? And so if we were to make another move down, I think that $2,100 for Ethereum actually holds extremely strongly. I don't think that we lose $2,100 for Ethereum. I personally don't think that we see Ethereum below $2,000, right? Because of the strength of this horizontal level of support. Now, is it possible? Absolutely. Where can we possibly see Ethereum landing if we were to lose that $2,000 price point? Well, what I'm seeing here, right? If this structure was to play out, which is a zigzag structure, you have a 5-way move to the downside here, a 3-way move up, and you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 looking to come in. So what can we expect in terms of price targets for the downside? Here we go. Right there. Top of the 3, bottom of the 4. Common fib extensions that we are looking at is at the maximum, right? Common fib extension, I am looking for about between the 0.5 and the 0.618 fib, right? At the deepest, the 786. And so what are those numbers? Well, the 0.5 is sitting at around $2,000, bottom of this range, right? Bottom of this next range here. So right around the strong level of horizontal support that we spoke about just a few minutes ago, right? And if we were to lose $2,000, then a reasonable area for price to head down to is the 618 extension, which is at about $1,900. And then at the lowest, about $1,700, which is that 0.786 fib, right? Because if you lose this strong horizontal area of support here for Ethereum, right, the next reasonable and strong area of horizontal support is around about $1,800, right around here. A lot of cycle highs around this $1,800 area.
Man,
Okay,
if that happened, back up the truck. Holy crap.
bro. Like the reason why I don't really stress about Ethereum is because my entry point for Ethereum was like the last buy order I had for Ethereum was at like $2,000, right? And that was only about like less than 20% of my Ethereum bag. Right? The overwhelming majority of my Ethereum bag, like 80% or so, I accumulated between $800 and $1,100, right? So like I'm not even tripping, bro. But if we were to see $2,000 Ethereum again and below, I suddenly become a buyer of Ethereum again, right? But because of how strong this horizontal level of support here around 2100, between 2000 and 2100 is, I don't think that we see Ethereum cracking $2,000 again below it, right? But if we do, now you have your targets. In terms of what do we need to happen in order for Ethereum to get bullish? Well, number one, but Bitcoin has to get really bullish. And the levels that we're going to consider aren't really that much aren't going to be that much different from Bitcoin, right? Firstly, let's recover the 20-week moving average. What is the 20-week moving average for Ethereum? Right? 20-week moving average for Ethereum is, oh, hold up, let me toggle on the 20-week. Right? 20-week moving average for Ethereum is $3,100. I would like to see Ethereum recover $3,100, right? Let's go to the daily. What is the 200-day moving average for Ethereum? Toggle that on. 200-day is sitting at what? The 200-day is sitting at 3,250. I would like Ethereum, after recovering the 20-week, we need to recover the 200-day moving average, which is a long-term bull market support. We need to recover that because now we're trading underneath it, right? This usually doesn't happen unless we're in a bear market, right? So Ethereum needs to recover that. Next, the 111-day moving average for Ethereum. Where is that sitting? Toggle that on. At $3,200, right? So your 111-day and your 200-day moving averages are sitting fairly close to each other at around $3,200, right? So Ethereum needs to recover that. And then finally, after those key moving averages have been recovered, right? We're talking about the 20-week, the 111-day, and the 200-day. The next major area that Ethereum needs to recover is this long-term bull market trend line. The same for Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin has a long-term bull market trend line that it's been trading above for the overwhelming majority of this new cycle, right? Ethereum needs to do the same thing. I need Ethereum to recover this long-term bull market trend line in order for us to squarely have a good chance of starting to build momentum once again into the upside, right? So those are the same, like the moving averages and the key levels that we spoke about for Bitcoin, very similar to Ethereum, right? Your 20-week, your 200-day, your 111-day, the midpoint of this range, which is at $3,300, right? The long-term bull market trend line, that needs to be recovered, right? And then the very bottom of the range, which is sitting at $2,850, right? So those are the things that we really need, like really in order of importance, that we need to recover in order for Ethereum to start getting bullish again, right? Because right now we're hovering at $2,400. We're still about 15 to 20% away or so from recovering the first key level, right? At 2850. Okay, so that's what we got for Ethereum.
Okie dokie. Do we have anything for Pulse Chain?
Oh, can we take a break from TA, bro? I'm getting so exhausted.
Here's your guys' TA for Pulse Chain. Numbers either going up or numbers going down. There we go. Nate, did you have anything you wanted to do for Pulse Chain?
No,
Thank
not
you, Jay.
particularly. So when it comes to like Pulse Chain, we're all waiting basically on ETH, right? As soon as ETH starts taking off, that's when Pulse Chain can really start taking off as well. I'm not gonna lie, like third cycle curse seems to be hitting ETH really hard right now. And it's not only that, but Vitalik is like, he's dumping a lot of ETH, and it seems
the foundation of Vitalik are kind of moving some funds.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure on what's going on there.
The official statement is to pay bills, which is, I mean, it's not the first time they've done it. The only thing the community was really clamoring for is like, hey man, we understand that you got to pay bills and shit, but just be a little bit more transparent. Again, right? It's like you're a private entity. You don't have to fucking you don't owe us an explanation. But if you want people to stop getting flooded out of the market, then it would probably behoove you to give people explanation. Again, you're not obligated to. Right, you're a private fucking entity. It's good enough that we know Vitalik's wallet, so we can see the movements. Right, one of the benefits of blockchain tech, but they're not obligated to give us any fucking reason.
Yeah, it's just about the fudding though. Like, I mean, Vitalik needs to know that the third cycle curse exists, and he needs to be trying his hardest to not to have Ethereum be that unicorn, especially now that there's an ETF. It's like he really should be like leaning into it, leaning into that ETF, saying, hey, like we're going to be the unicorn that is not going to be affected by this third cycle curse. And then he needs to like start trying to do things to get people to buy more ETH, and then obviously have number go up, That's my opinion on that, but you guys can go ahead with that one.
I'll make sure to I'll write that on a letter, and I'll make sure to mail it on over to Vitalik at 123 ETH Street or something.
Fam, one thing I will say about Pulse Chain, there's not really a lot to say at the current moment, but currently we're sitting at like the edge of support, right? Which was the last all-time low, right? Or the bull market low for Pulse Chain, which was, I believe, 4 zeros and a 33. We are like sitting right there. If we lose that and start closing weeks below that, I know it's not what everybody wants to hear, but you basically have price discovery to the downside. Just being 100% honest with you guys. If we lose that level of support and we start closing weeks below it, it's price discovery to the downside, bro. So that's the unfortunate reality.
Fuck up, baby.
I wish it was different. It's not. Okay.
We're gonna strap in. We're gonna ride this coaster. We're gonna hold hands on this burning plane as it crashes into the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And
on a positive note, though, Incentive and PulseX still sitting pretty.
Yep.
They're way they're like 30%. I gotta double check, but they're certainly way higher in terms of like their support levels. Yeah, before they sweep for a new bull market. Jesus Christ, making new lows in a bull market, basically, right? They're a long ways. They're a long ways away from that. Pulse Chain is the one in danger, and Hex is the one in danger. Again, I wish it was different. I'm just the messenger, man. Don't fucking shoot the messenger.
I want to say that. Oh man, I could be totally wrong here. I'm pulling this number out of my ass, but I'm pretty sure that Ink's all-time low was like 30 or 40 cents. Somewhere around there.
It was like around 30 cents. Well,
yeah, we're sitting at like $1.50, $1.40 right now. Last I checked, or something. Fucking go check your own damn charts, people in the chats. We've worked Jay to the bone enough today. But dude, thank you for that fantastic analysis, bro.
One thing I would like to add on to, and this has to do with
incentive,
deal with what Jay.
Kudos to Incentive, because you're like a 4 or 5x from the low, still sitting pretty, bro.
That was doing well, actually. So yeah, just to kind of go off of what Jay was saying, though, this is a little bit of like hopium, right? So there's a lot of stable coins currently in Pulse Chain that are just sitting around. So what do you think is gonna? And this isn't like Richard Hart. No. I'm pushing any non-Richard Hart known address at least. There's a lot of stable coins, a lot of big whales that are just sitting around waiting for something right now. So like I'm just gonna kind of hint right now that you might want to be buying Pulse at these extreme lows. Pulse, Pulse X, all those, right? Because if all these whales are sitting around in these stables, what do you think is gonna happen the second they think it's time to deploy?
Yep, exactly.
Hashtag not financial advice. Ben commented. Now folks know. I spelled financial instead of financial. That's all right. People will figure it out. They'll get it. But yeah, we don't give financial advice. We're just giving our super cool opinions, telling you guys some top-notch campfire stories on the way. Speaking of being on the way, we're gonna do a quick little chat shout out. We've got Tin Top has joined us. Welcome, welcome, Mr. Tin Top. What's up, Hexicans? What's up to you too, amigo? Good to have you on the show. Again, guys, remember hashtag not financial advice. And there we go. Let's hop on over into the next topic of discussion though, which is going to be Karim. So Karim is kind of free. He's a free bird. He has started learning how to play guitar, and now he can play the song Freebird, and he is out of jail. He is no longer in Folsom Prison, and he's having a good time. As far as I as far as I understand, he's going to be going in and hanging out with Yoon, and he's going to be working and making some money and stuff. And I think he's got a court date. A lot of the details and stuff were discussed on Matty Allen's show. Shout out to Matty, good friend of the channel. He had Karim on earlier, and they talked about a whole bunch of stuff. So you guys could check out all the cool details over there at Matty Allen's Hex Therapy show over there on YouTube. But Nate, I want to toss this over to you because you have some thoughts and everything. As far as I understand, man, so like I'm approaching this whole thing objectively, and I'll give my little 2 cents, and then I'll throw it over to you. So Karim like went and got arrested in some stuff, and he has a whole bunch of hex stakes, and there's a lot of money in his a lot of theoretical money in his portfolio. The problem is that like I as far as I'm aware, he made the hex stakes natively on the Hex website or using the Staker app or something like that, and when you do so, you can't like transfer them around. You can't liquidate them into Hedron or Icosa, which is kind of what I want to talk about later on in the show with the Icosa Hedron protocol. You can sell your HSIs to the contract, and you can get a loan for doing so. But when you stake your hex natively on the Hex website or using the formerly fantastic Staker app, or when you use some other third-party system, all that you can do is sit on the hex stake. You can't send it to a new wallet. You can't tokenize it as an NFT. You can't sell it on an OpenSea marketplace. You're just stuck with a stake. So Karim was in a position where he could not, he essentially couldn't realize the value that was inside of his hex stakes. And so he opted to ask for financial help, or I don't know if he even has asked for financial help. I just know that Yoon went out there and ran a campaign and got a bunch of donations from people. So shout out to Yoon going out there and doing the work for a good friend of his. But there's a lot of hate in the space, and there's a lot of people that are interjecting their opinions and things, and like they're playing armchair quarterbacks and talking about how things should have, could have, would have been, and like this should be done instead. I personally don't find, like, people are free to speak, more power to you. If you're speaking negatively about someone, you're still thinking about them. You're giving them your attention economy. You are paying the mind share tax to making a thing continue to be real, right? Like nobody in the audience was thinking about monkeys riding on an elephant eating ice cream until I said so. But now that I've said it, that image exists in your mind. So whenever people talk about something, it keeps something alive. So if people want to talk shit about Karim, about me, about the Degen Roundtable, about Maddie, about icosahedron, about their favorite color of sunglasses, like they're more than welcome to do so. I think that it keeps the thing going, whatever it might be. But there's been a lot of negative attention in the space, and the thing that I want to gear this conversation towards is the tools that can be used in the future conversation that we're going to be having once we're done talking about like the specific instance that happened with Karim. But I want to rotate this conversation once we're done here over to the icosahedron ecosystem, so that way people can understand that there's more options when it comes to Hex. There's things built on top of the Hex contract where if you find yourself stuck in a terrible position, you can still exit things that are locked out by selling it to other people or by selling it to a contract and incurring a loan, incurring a debt of some sort. And that's some stuff that can be done. So those are my 2 cents on the whole thing. I don't know Karim. I don't really know Yoon. Our good friend Jeff from the Degen Roundtable is good friends with them, and he came on and he talked to you guys personally when this stuff first came live. So Jeff brought out Yoon, and they both spoke together about raising money to help Karim out of this sticky situation. So I think it's fantastic that a bunch of people came together and helped out their friends, and I think that that's awesome and super cool. Nate, I'm going to go ahead and toss it over to you because that basically covers all my thoughts. I don't know much about anything else, so go ahead and take it away, my friend. And by the way, you're still muted. Okay, there you go.
I was just waiting on you, man.
All right.
Yeah, there we go. All right, let's go. So yeah, no, when you're looking at things, right, it's kind of like this isn't necessarily a subject of oh, doesn't he have the money to get himself out of it? Why does he need to go ask for money? I've been seeing a lot of people who are just very upset at the fact that he's asking for money. And of course, there's a lot of pain going around in the community because, hey, it's down. You know what? The funny thing is that same pain is being felt out there at Ethereum right now too. I mean, we literally just got done talking about how it's still going now. Even Vitalik is starting to dump, right? And if you were to think about that, that's like Richard Hart being like, "Yeah, I think I'm gonna dump some Hex," you know, and just continue to hurt the price when we're all feeling the way we're feeling now, right? It's a little bit rough, you know. So here's the thing that I was looking at though, and this is, I believe this is the reason why Richard Hart also tweeted out, "Hey, we need to help out Karim." Okay, Karim has been one of the biggest supporters of the Hex space, right? He is such a big supporter that I think maybe a little bit foolishly he overstaked himself, because the way that the stakes themselves was specifically set up to be like future money for yourself. You know, it's kind of like you're placing your paycheck into the future. All right. However, you still need money to be able to survive now. Okay. And that's why you keep some liquid, right? What's the percentage that you need to have liquid? I don't know. That's up to you. But I would advise against being 100% staked out, because then you have only your job. So now in the case of like some mistake happening, I don't know 100% of what he was doing with the bullets in the bag or whatever in his travel bag. I don't know what was going on there. I'm pretty sure he probably came back from shooting at a range or whatever, forgot that he had him in there, and all of a sudden he goes through the scanner. Uh-oh, what's this? You know, that's a big problem. Yeah, what's up?
Can I hop in real quick? It doesn't really, and here's the thing, like, it's not our place to judge why he had the bullets in his backpack, right? The fact of the matter is that he did. It's not our place to judge why he had the hex all staked out. You know, that's his decision. The only thing that like we can choose to do is to help or to not help. And it's like those are the two choices, you know. And it's kind of funny, all the people that are complaining about, like, that are publicly complaining about people like sending him money. It's like, well, you're donating to the cause with the attention because you're talking about it. So thank you in your own personal way. Your plan kind of backfired on you, but I shouldn't have interrupted you. Nate, please continue.
Yeah. So, you know, we don't really know what happened there, but here's the thing. Surprises in life happen. This is why you need money stored away. Okay. I have some money stored away in my savings account right now that, in looking at the prices of crypto right now, all I want to do is yeet that money into it. I'm not going to lie. And I sit there and I stare at my savings account going, this could be like a lot of crypto for me. But the surprises of life happen, right? And you can't plan for, the only thing that you can plan for is something that is going to happen. Don't know what it is, but something will. And so when you're 100% staked out, it's kind of like you got nothing liquid to be able to sell just in case. And in fact, Karim had to emergency end stake a whole bunch, right, just to try and get some out. And it got to the point where it's like, all right, here's what we can do. We can ask the community to forward that money through as like a loan, right? You could either donate or ask through a loan. And I think that that's the correct thing to do. And I especially like it when the community actually gets around and begrudgingly says, okay, I'm going to send you money, but now I'm going to expect that money back, right? Now, I have my money printers, okay? And every single week I'm pulling out all the money from them. I took out that whole week's rounding up of my money printers. I took all the profits from that and I gave it to Karim. Okay. Want to know why? Because that was, number one, that was free money for me. Okay. That was free money for me that with the way that I was trying to set up my financial responsibilities, right? I was able to just take that and then give it to someone in need. I really don't care if I get paid back or not. I in fact, I even tweeted them just like, hey, just give me a good follow, right? And then come on our show. That's our payment. There we go. Bam. Awesome, right? So, and yes, perhaps that will happen. I don't know. We'll have a look at this, say next week, and we may announce something, right? Regardless of that, okay. I believe that trying to put out as much, and I know this is going to be woobity Google, but putting out as much good energy into the universe as possible is going to be good, because it's going to come back on you. I have seen too many times when karma legitimately seems to be an actual thing, and I try to think of the world logically. Like, you know, if I put something out there and it's magical and woohoo energy, why does it come back as like woohoo energy again? I don't know. But I think for us as a community, that was vitally, it was an important barrier for us to get through. It was something where a lot of people said, don't you have $40 million? Can't you pay for it? Well, yeah, he probably does. And it's all staked out. Okay, let's go ahead and help him. Let's help the human that is there. That's what's more important. Okay. And another issue that I do have that I really want you guys to think about, okay, is that when you look at someone who's going to jail, who's scared and is like, what do I do about this? Like, help. When another human is doing that, do you look at him and go, well, help yourself because you have more money than me?
There's a
Is that the way you should be acting, right? Instead, what you should be doing is like, hey, this human needs help and I can do something. I have the power to be able to help. You know what I mean?
Can you imagine if somebody who had a whole lot of financial power was like, hey guys, I'm in a tight spot, but I'm going to have a lot of money one day. Would you like to earn some of my favor? Would you like to make friends with me? Would you like to, potentially help me out? Just from like a totally objective. Say you don't know Karim as an individual or whatever the heck. Like, if you had the opportunity to earn favor with a potentially like a wealthy person, like, does that seem like a crazy thing? Like, if you see a rich person like drop their papers, all, like, if you're walking through a building and you see like one of the CEOs or the COOs or the CFOs like drop all their papers on the ground, and you're like, oh, this guy's like, he's a wealthy person. Perhaps I should help him. Perhaps I'm not a wealthy person, or like a future wealthy person, whatever. It's like it's the thing with the HSI or HSIs, hex stakes, whatever you want to call them, mining instances. It's like, it's possible that he might have a whole lot of money one day. Just like from a like to take personality out of all of it and just look at it from like a strictly numbers perspective. It's like, maybe I should help people that could very well be very rich. Just a thought. But those are my thoughts on that.
But to say about like to the community, right? There was enough people who did donate that he was able to meet not once but twice his goals, right? To be able to get back home, which he is now. He's back home safe and everything. Good on you, Karim. So I guess the message here is like, guys, as a community, number one, we need to help each other. We together need to help, right? This has nothing to do with I feel bad because my bags are down. And if you're looking at things that way, quite frankly, I think you need to look deeper inside yourself, because I think you may have some things that you want to try and heal. Maybe you got some traumas or injuries or something, right? I've been trying to invest since I was 22 years old, and I'll be 32 this year, so like a whole decade, and all of my investments have always gone to zero.
Oh boy. Hashtag not financial advice, everyone.
Yeah,
make sure that you
exactly.
like, subscribe and all that stuff. But
Hey.
we don't necessarily know what we're doing. We're all just kind of hanging out, having fun. But
There was a lot of different methods that I tried to invest. That includes starting up my own companies and stuff, and of course they didn't work out. But I'll tell you what. So I started my crypto journey by losing it all. Okay, and in 2022, it was right around August, September of 2022, I started working overtime to learn how to actually invest in crypto. Okay. And my bags are up. I know a lot of people are feeling the pain of having their bags down, but my bags are currently up right now. And it's because of all the things that I learned. And I worked overtime to try and make that happen. Okay. But I do feel the pain of people who lose more money than they really are able to. I feel that pain because that happened to me. And it's been happening to me with other investments, other types of vehicles of investments throughout my life. All right. So overall, guys, continue to support each other. Try and get over the pain of having prices down. Stop looking at your portfolio being like, oh no, my portfolio is down 80%. I am now upset and angry, and I'm going to lash out by hurting somebody else or by not caring about anybody else. That is not what we want. And you know what? Even though there has been a lot of negative energy, let's say, that was thrown Karim's way, overall, the community as a whole has proved that we are the best community in crypto because we did help Karim out. Not only help Karim out, but help him get back to the States. Okay? And so good on you guys. I want everybody who hears this message, even if you're upset that, you know, everything worked out for Karim and you're against him, try to be like the rest of us. Try to help each other, because that's what we are. It's not me and my individual portfolio. It is us. We together are helping each other, and that's what we do at the Degen Roundtable. The entire reason we literally we created this whole thing here was because the entire idea of trying to help you guys, right? We took a lot of time out, a lot of our life force to try and learn how to be able to make money in crypto. And now we're sharing that with you, all the things that we've come to learn. Stay strong, guys.
I don't want to be the contrarian here. I joined the Degen Roundtable because I wanted help, and I noticed that you guys were all very smart, and I was like, oh, I want to be a part of this group of cool cats, and it transformed into this thing that it is now, and I fucking love it, and it's super awesome. I would actually, Jay, I want to give you an opportunity to weigh in here if you've got any thoughts on this situation, anything Nate or I have spoken about so far regarding Karim and community and peace, love, and harmony and bullets in foreign countries and things.
I not really too much to add. It's from my personal observations of this whole situation. I wasn't surprised, right? The Hex community has been fractured for a while since Pulse Chain was released, and you won't be able to find a community, whether it's B-Roots and his gang, it's Spook and the Tang gang, or it's Axis and the Axicans, or the guys over at Liquid Loans, or the guys over at Earn. Pick a community, you're gonna find some haters, right? I'm of the personal opinion that even if I don't like some of these people, that I can still extract value from them, right? My mindset is separating wheat from chaff. And so do I disagree with some of the things that our friends and our colleagues have said and done over the span of these last 2 years? Absolutely. Right. But I choose to extract the value that I can, and the stuff that I don't like or the stuff that I disagree with, then I just leave that to the side. I think your time is probably better spent focusing on the things that I spoke about earlier in the stream, right? Accumulating more skills, studying, dollar cost averaging into the assets that you have strong conviction in. Like, your time is better spent doing that than going on X and engaging with the nonsense, right? Because anybody with a modicum of critical thinking ability will go to X and look at that. It's like a proxy for high school, right? People talk shit to each other. They're brave behind their computers, and they have a lot to say, right? When it comes to X, and none of that is productive. I understand that there are certain situations, like, for example, like the stuff that happened with Pulse Latina, that dumb bimbo, right? That scammed everybody out of like tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? Like, I think like that's an exception to the rule. And unless you're somebody who's investigating, like if you're a blockchain Sherlock Holmes, right, and you're actually contributing to the community by doing investigative work to find out, hey, what can we do to remedy this situation? What can we do to catch the person who scammed a lot of people? Unless you're actually that person doing that, then your time is better spent elsewhere, right? Like, your time is better spent elsewhere, because all that energy that you're funneling into going back and forth with complete strangers on X, right, could be better spent making more money or educating yourself, or pick a different avenue of positivity aside from that, right? And so that's really it, right? Like, I know a lot of people were giving him shit because, like, hey, like, we're not going to donate money to you because we think you're a bad guy, or you should have money like yourself, like you're doing all these extravagant things and now you're telling us you can't afford it. Like whatever, bro. Like Will said, if you like the guy and you want to donate money to him, fantastic. If you don't, then just don't, right? Don't spend your valuable time on X telling everybody why you think they shouldn't donate to this person, right? Because the chances of you convincing these people are slim to none. Because at the end of the day, like, who really gives a fuck about our opinions? Very few.
Yep.
Right. So you're better off taking that time and that energy into helping yourself, helping your family, and like helping the small group of people in your circle that could actually benefit from your time and energy. Right. So
that you are absolutely right, Jay. And I will throw in the caveat that if you want to look like you don't like Karim or whatever, then you could say all these nasty things. But like at the end of the day, I'll reiterate the point that if you are saying nasty things about people, then you're making them continue to live. There's a saying, and I can't remember who is the one that penned this saying, but if you love me or if you hate me, I still occupy your mental real estate.
yeah.
And so
we call that living rent free in your head.
yes,
Yeah, no such thing as
100%.
bad press.
Yep, no such thing as bad press. It might be bad in the short term, or it might be. And here's the thing: like you kind of damage your reputation when you talk smack about other people, like in like a derogatory way, as opposed to like in a constructive feedback producing way. Like if people really didn't like what Karim is doing, then they could give him constructive feedback, and it would make both people look better. Because then you've got one person trying to help another person and teach them in the process. Whereas like if you just got people like throwing shade at each other, then normally whenever an audience sees like two people throwing shade or two people fighting, they generally have people have like a tendency to root for the underdog kind of thing. And so if they see one person like picking on another guy, it generally like causes a shift in perspective on both people. So like talking smack about people doesn't really make if person one is talking smack about person two, person one does not look better for doing it. Like if they're offering like constructive criticisms, it's different. But if they're just like saying, "Oh, this guy's a silly nincompoop that doesn't nobody's doing," then it's like you're not making yourself look good, you know. So that's my thoughts on the whole thing as well. Nate, Jay, you guys got anything to tie it up? If not,
No, talk to us about how maybe the hex stakes could have been prevented a little bit. Like what could
okay,
have happened
excellent.
there?
Before we get into hex stakes, we're going to do a quick round of chat shoutouts, starting from the bottom. We're going to start from the bottom this time. We normally start from the most the first one's in, last one's out, but chat shoutouts starting from the bottom because I happened to click on the bottom button first. We're going to start with LC Izzle or L Sizzle or Lick Sizzle. I don't know, but he says, "Who believes the hardest?" And the correct answer to that is, I don't know, because I don't. But I'm going to guess that I believe in my own convictions the most out of everyone that's not me. And I bet that Nate believes in his convictions the most out of everyone. And I believe that Jay believes in his convictions the most, you know? So that's my 2 cents. I think it's kind of silly to compare people to other people. It's like comparing apples to crowbars. It's like everyone's different in their own particular way. We're all special snowflakes and all that good stuff. But yes, as far as who believes the hardest, it's that might be a rhetorical question actually. Now that I read it again, it's like might be who believes the hardest, who's going to stick around the longest. I would say your best bet for that is to watch people's actions and instead of what they say. You observe what people are doing, and you add that up into your bucket of reputation of whatever that person's name is. So if you see me constantly doing push-ups, you could say, "Oh, there's Will the push-ups man." Or if you see Nate constantly like having the Inigo Montoya hair and being the Dread Pirate Robertson, you could be like, "Oh, Nate's the Dread Pirate Roberts man." And you could see Agent J over there being like, "Oh, this guy does the great value technical analysis." Blah, my goodness. You could be like, "Oh, this guy's cool analysis as fuck," or something. Man, I'm getting all sorts of tongue twisted. Next up in chat shoutouts is Hex Glenn saying, "Hey guys, what's up, Hex Glenn? It's good to see you, amigo." And he was also talking about don't imagine a pink elephant. You're absolutely right, Hex Glenn. Do not imagine pink elephants, and we will not know what's going on after that. And then we've also got Mr. Tin Top has shown up himself. What's up, Hexicans? What's up to you too, Mr. Tin Top, good sir? It's glad to see you in the house again. We've also got Mr. Angry Twinkie, impressed with our takes. Very mature takes, DRT team.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Angry Twinkie. Those are some fantastic and kind
Yeah,
words.
bro. Like we don't have time. Like we don't have time to fucking engage in the bullshit, bro. Like there's too much money to be made out here to worry about the bullshit, man.
Yep.
Hey, I will say there's always one person. There's always one name that pops into my head whenever I see something along the lines of LaSizzle's question of who believes the hardest. And
Oh, yeah.
my answer is Michael Saylor.
Oh,
Oh, there is no second best.
It's always Michael Saylor.
46 million per Bitcoin.
oh my God. There is no second best. Yes, I will say those statistics probably cannot be argued. Michael Saylor is probably the
You know what's
strongest.
crazy, bro? Because like
What's that?
Richard Hart is a Richard Hart maxi, but he's been on record saying like, yeah, I like ETH. Right?
Yep.
It's like Charles likes other things besides Cardano.
Yep.
Vitalik likes other things besides Ethereum. Well, Michael Saylor is like, nah, there's no second best.
Yep. There is no second best.
He's like, you know what's funny, right? There was a news earlier this week that Nasdaq is looking to get a crypto index approved, right? And then I just thought to myself, I was like, the Bitcoin maxis is like, yeah, you crypto index, you mean just Bitcoin inside? Like what? Like there's no index that has anything else in it. We just have Bitcoin, bro.
Yo, Saylor literally went on camera and said that Ethereum will never get an ETF. And like the next week, the ETF was approved. And he's like, oh, they made a mistake and it'll never be worth anything.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was such a.
He did say it was good for the space, right? That we're getting adoption, but never have I ever heard Michael Saylor say, yeah, I'm going to add Ethereum to my holdings. Just Bitcoin guy.
He is an example of a gentleman who is very convicted in his one particular thing.
I mean, when you pivot 100% into a singular asset, when you bring your shareholders to a meeting and say, hey, I'm going to give you guys the opportunity to like sell me back your shares because I'm going all in on Bitcoin, and then to take a ridiculous amount of leverage to buy more Bitcoin, I don't know and can't think of anybody else who's gone harder into crypto than that. Like, that's pretty fucking insane, bro. And this was like during, like right around when COVID. No, I don't know exactly when he did it, right? But like shit was hitting the fan, right, for Michael Saylor, because when he spoke about the stuff that was going on with MicroStrategy, he was like, yeah, we were about to go under. So I had to make a decision, like, where are we going to fucking pivot to? And he went all in, right? All in Bitcoin, bought back the shares of MicroStrategy from the shareholders that didn't want to have anything to do with Bitcoin. Apparently everybody did, so no problem there. And then to take an extreme, ridiculous, ludicrous amount of leverage all the way down during the bear market to buy more Bitcoin. Like, you want to talk about who believes the hardest? Like, show me another case study that's believing harder than Michael Saylor. Like, show me another case study.
You're not gonna get too many of them out there. That's that is the man. And like, I would be curious if he ever ends up pivoting or diversifying or whateverifying. Like, I would be curious to see what causes that, because that would be a massive reputation change, whether it becomes damaging or whether it gives him credibility. You know, that will shift a brand. Like when you're a person who, oh shit, almost knocked my drink over. When you're a person who like dedicates yourself to one thing, and you're with that one thing for a long period of time, and this is like it's a life-changing thing. and then you're like, oh, I like these other things too, then that would be an interesting phenomena for sure.
If the day ever comes that Michael Saylor puts his brand behind another asset, that's
Ooh,
gonna
man.
make some X's. So
Yep.
I doubt it's gonna happen, but if it does, I'm paying attention.
Oh man. You say, do you mean like as a sellout, or as like a branch out sort of thing?
Oh, as in like, hey, I'm now and like I believe there's a second best, and here it is.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Fucking this Shibarium.
Oh no.
It's the Shiba Inu ecosystem, boys. That's what
Yeah.
it is. That's the thing. Speaking of other ecosystems, though, I want to take this opportunity to talk, to pivot the conversation back towards Karim and all the stuff that was going on. Oh, one final chat shout out. Mr. Yellowtail has joined us. P-Hex at all-time low. Ladies and gentlemen, looks like you guys heard it here first. All-time low for P-Hex. So if you want to be buying P-Hex at some crazy cool prices, I know that I'm going to be buying P-Hex very shortly to demonstrate to you guys how this icosahedron protocol system and everything works here in a minute. We're going to do it live on screen using my my Pulse domain. So it's a wallet that's already docked, and we're going to be buying some coins and doing some stakes and figuring some things out. So that way you guys can see how this stuff works. For those of you that don't know anything about the icosahedron ecosystem, so that's going to be coming up very shortly. I think that covers all thoughts on Karim. So what happened with Karim, specifically regarding the hex stakes. So Karim could emergency end stake all of his stakes, but the problem is like there's a requirement that you have to make it a certain amount of time through your hex stake in order for your emergency end stake to be profitable, or even like to even get anything out of it. There's like some of the penalties if you're close enough to the start of your stake, then it will completely wipe out the entire stake if you emergency end stake. Half of your hex will go to other stakers, and then half of it will go to the origin address, is my understanding of it. And I could be wrong. So folks in the comments, feel free to correct me if I am incorrect on any of this stuff. My understanding of the whole ecosystem is pretty vague, and I'm relying a lot, and I'm also doing a little bit of production at the same time. So my thoughts might get jumbled and scrambled, but I'm gonna go ahead and do a quick little chat GPT summary for you guys. And I'm going to do this share screen thing, actually, since I have the ability to do so. So I'm going to say share screen, my chat GPT, bazinga. And then there we have it. All right, cool beans. So for those of you guys who have never seen it before, the order of all the stuff that was developed, this is just kind of going through chronological order. And ChatGPT might get it a little bit wrong. But for those of you that don't know, Hex was started in December of 2019. It's a foundational cryptocurrency created by Richard Hart, which focuses on staking and earning interest. It's essentially Bitcoin on Ethereum with the interest paid out to stakers instead of miners, and you're rewarded for holding longer and doing that sort of things. That's a super duper simple explanation. There is no proof of work. It's all proof of stake, that because it runs on Ethereum and runs on Pulse Chain. I should say it's on Pulse Chain and Ethereum. The primary one, or the primary focus that most people want it to be, is on the Pulse Chain ecosystem. So that's the one that I'll be covering today because the fees are cheaper. Next, Hedron came out in February of 2022. This was introduced as a protocol that allows Hex stakers to mint and tokenize their stakes as NFTs and provide additional liquidity and trading options. So the first thing that came out was the Hedron token. So Hedron is essentially a token that is minted out of thin air whenever you have a Hex stake. So whether you stake your Hex natively on the Hex website or whether you use the icosahedron protocol, you have the ability to go and create you have the ability to mint Hedron whenever you stake Hex. Now, the exact ratio for how much Hedron is minted per day is based on your T-share rate and based on the size of the Hex stake. So it has something to do with the number of Hedron that is printed per day is something to do with the T-share and things of that nature. But anyways, Hedron is the one that comes for free. If it is minted in perpetuity, Hedron is always being created by people who are creating Hex stakes. As long as there's people staking Hex, there's going to be Hedron minted into existence. So it is an inflationary token in that aspect. And that's how that works. Next up, we got ICOSA. ICOSA was created in July of 2022. It was launched as a complementary token to Hex and Hedron, offering additional staking opportunities, rewards, and integration with the existing protocols. What's neat about ICOSA is that you can take your Hex stake and you can sell it to the ICOSA protocol, and you can get ICOSA in return for selling your Hex stake to the protocol. Another thing you can do in addition to selling your Hex stake is you can turn it into an NFT, and then you can sell it as an NFT on an open marketplace, whether that's OpenSea or I think Mintra is the one that's on Pulse Chain. There's a couple NFT trading places otherwise where you can buy Hex stakes, but those are the big ones. Or you can buy it from the contracts automated the contracts automated HSI auction blocks, which I will pull up here in a second. Yeah, so that's all part of the ICOSA and stuff. Then the NFT auctions. This is the HSIs and things. This came in August of 2022. Again, this is all ChatGPT summarizing this for me, so I might have the dates wrong a little bit. But essentially, the NFT auctions are part of the ICOSA ecosystem, where the NFT auctions were introduced, allowing users to bid on tokenized Hex stakes, adding a strategic layer to the staking process. And then it says there's some stuff about community governance, but as far as I'm aware, I don't understand the community governance part. I don't know why ChatGPT threw that in there. I don't think that there's any community governance. And then yeah, it went into a little bit more specific explanation ChatGPT did with all of these stuff. But yeah, ICOSA is Alex's main baby. That's the thing that he likes the most, or that was the whole point of the protocol, was to create ICOSA. Hedron is like a nice little cherry on top. The NFTs and the auctions provide a lot of functionality, and they provide a lot of opportunity for yield and staking and things of that nature. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing and bring us back to normal here. But what I'm going to talk about now is basically when you create a Hex staking instance, an HSI, that is, you are using the native protocol. I'm going to actually do another share screen for you guys here. If you have never seen it before, this is what the ICOSA website, I believe. Oh man, I hope that's the right screen over there, because if that's not, then I'm going to dox myself. So I'm going to close that out. Aha!
Wait, aren't you Will Stevenson though?
Yes, I am. I am Will Stevenson, but I'm making sure that I'm not pulling up a different screen of mine that is a non-doxed wallet. So I'm going to pull up my doxed wallet here. So bazinga. There we go. So this is my doxed wallet. This is will.pls.fyi. And right now I have the HSI auctions all pulled up. So these are HSIs. These are like this guy right here. He made a stake of 100,000 Hex, and he staked it for 5,555 days. It was worth 12.9 T shares back when he made the stake, which was 13% of that 5,555 days ago. This is the stake ID, and this is when this auction is going for sale. So about 60 days ago, 63 days ago exactly, if I'm not mistaken, this dude said, okay, I'm going to sell my Hex stake that is 100,000 Hex staked out for 5,555 days. I'm going to sell it to the protocol so that way I can get ICOSA right now, and I don't destroy this Hex stake. I don't have to emergency end stake it. I can get something of value out of it. And it's also going to go on the chopping block. And in 90 days, this auction will be this specific HSI, this Hex staking instance, will be available for the general public to buy. So as you guys can see, can you guys see my mouse right now?
Will, just a correction. The HSI auctions, these are the HSIs, right?
Yep.
That have basically defaulted on their loans.
Yes. So you can do. There's two ways that HSI auctions happen. Yep.
Okay.
So one is somebody takes out a loan. They can. So if you can do one of two things, guys. You can either take out a loan for Hedron, or you can sell your Hex stake for ICOSA, right? So if you take let me go ahead and pull up. Well, shoot, I don't have. Maybe I have one over here. I don't think I have one. Okay, so an HSI buyback. All right, so right here you guys can see this is a Hex stake, right? So I have one Hex stake inside of my wallet right now. It is a stake of Hex for 1,000 Hex. It is staked for 3,650 days, which it gives me the 10-day or the 10-year bonus for T shares. It is worth 9.4 B shares. There's no Hedron bonus. It can mint this much Hedron right now. And this is the amount of Hedron that I can borrow for this hex stake. So I can do one of two things with this tokenized HSI. I can transfer and detokenize on this page. So I'm going to roll back a little bit. This is the Hex native staking page right here. If you want to create a native Hex that is not a smart contract, that is just directly with the Hex contract itself, then you can do this. This is just like staking Hex normally. This is how you would do it on the go.hex.com website. That's how you do it on this website. That's how you do it on anything, right? This is a contract between you, or this is nothing but you interacting with the Hex smart contract that runs on Pulse Chain or Ethereum, right? If we go down one option right here to the Hedron, then it should, okay. You guys will notice it looks very similar. It's still got the Hex staking, but these ones are HSIs. This is an encapsulated stake. So whenever you create a stake on this protocol, right, a native stake is just a native stake. It's your wallet and the contract. Nothing else can be done. With the Hedron stake and HSI, that's where all this utility comes into play, right? When you create a Hedron stake, or when you create an HSI, you can then turn that stake into a tokenized HSI, which basically, whenever you stake the Hex, it makes a smart contract, and that is your HSI. You can tokenize it, turn it into an NFT, sell that NFT to different wallets, detokenize it in other wallets, or do things like that. So what Jay was saying earlier with the ICOSA, oh goodness, I would have to detokenize this. So I'm going to detokenize this first, so that way you guys can see what happens here. So we go up to this little MetaMask. It's going to ask us, do we want to detokenize the HSI? Hey, this burns the NFT and places the Hex stake straight in your control. So I'm going to go ahead and say yes, because cool beans, 220 pulse, no big deal. So I'm going to detokenize this HSI, and we're going to have to wait a minute because the website takes a second to interact with the protocol and all that stuff. But there's a couple of things that you can do with an HSI. One, you can borrow against it. Two, you can tokenize it and send it around from wallet to wallet like you would just send any other tokens. Like if you wanted to send your buddy an HSI, you could. You just have to tokenize it first, and then like get his wallet address and then send it on over there. I'm going to go ahead and refresh the page here and check and see if that, okay, sweet. Oh, cool beans, just went through. All right, so the Hex stake is now detokenized. So now it's just a regular old Hex stake. It's still an HSI, I should say. It is still a regular old HSI Hex stake. From here, we can go to this actions. We can mint the Hedron, right? Which this is the amount of Hedron that we have available right now. This is the amount of Hedron that we will have at the end of this stake. So as you can see, 2,000 or 22,000 Hedron, that's like a much smaller number than this number right here. So if I want to mint Hedron right now, and you can mint Hedron once a day, every day. Every day you get a little bit more Hedron added into your wallet, and it's based off the number of B shares and things. But you can borrow all that Hedron on the front end by going over here, tokenizing the stake. We're going to go ahead and tokenize it, re-tokenize it again, so you guys can see how this works. All right, so we tokenize it, and then it's going to go back down here into this tokenized HSI things. But this is where you would need it if you want to collect the Hedron out that you're available to borrow today. If you want to, or not borrow, excuse me, you could just have it. If you want to mint your Hedron today, you can just go ahead and have it. We're going to now go down to the ICOSA platform, the ICOSA part of the website, where it has it's got little numbers up here which tell you how much things you have in your wallet. Right now, I have no ICOSA, I have no Hedron, I have no untokenized HSIs. I do have one single tokenized HSI. So that's the one that we can do stuff with. So we go down here to the HSI buyback, right? So the ICOSA protocol will buy your tokenized HSI stakes in return for ICOSA. To tokenize your HSI stakes, use the Hedron app. So that would mean like you go back here, you do the stuff, which we just did. So we're going to go back to the ICOSA part of the protocol. And I've also got no Wattses. But yeah, so we can go down here and we can sell the HSI. Now, what happens when we sell the HSI is this is 1,000 Hex staked for 3,650 days, and it will net me 9 ICOSA. So I don't get a Quattro Cinco bonus because the Hex stake is only 365 days long. And I don't get the Hedron launch phase bonus because I don't, and I'm not entirely sure how that works. But this is where you can you can take your hex stake and you can sell it to a protocol, and then you can get something out of it. So right now, this is the version where you sell it to the protocol and you get Icosa as a return, right? So my 1,000 hex staked out that I can't touch with all the yield and all the everything that it's earning gets turned into 9 Icosa, right? So we're going to go over to this Pateus over here, to this this DEX aggregator, and we're going to do a little bit of research. So we're going to go and find, I could probably just type it in, HDRN, Hedron, cool beans. So, or excuse me, not Hedron, we need Icosa, ICSA. All right, so Icosa. So 9 Icosa is worth 26 cents. So cool beans. So I have 1,000 hex, and I can borrow 26 cents off of this stake because it's because of the way that it the way that it works. We're going to go ahead and do a little comparison here with the hex, and we're going to say, because the stake is 1,000, right? So a hex stake is 1,000 hex, which is worth $4. So we can get about 1/8 of the value of the item in question by going and selling it to the contract. Now, we're not going to do it because that's a silly goose idea. I don't want to lose $3.75 of value for the sake of showing you guys how this thing works. But that's how you would go through doing it. And it's not the best numbers, but it's a damn sight better than the numbers that you're going to get by emergency end staking and then dumping all that hex on the open market. What you're going to be doing with this process is you're going to be taking that wrapped up hex stake, you're selling it to the contract, and then it goes and sits in this box, the HSI auction area. And the way that these auctions work is 90 days after you sell your hex stake to the protocol, you can then go and, like, anybody can bid on it. So you see here, the opening bid for this 1,000 or 100,000 hex stake is 65 million Hedron. So when this guy went and he did his turn in with the actually, shoot, I'm just realizing that I don't know how to borrow the Hedron, how to advance the Hedron. I forgot how to do that. That's irrelevant. We'll cover that later, or somebody else smarter than me will talk about it. But when this guy took his 100,000 hex, staked out for 5,555 days, and he was 13% done with it, right? When he went through the process, he got 65 million Hedron worth of Icosa at the time, right? So he didn't receive 65 million Hedron. He received whatever the equivalent of Icosa was at that time. So let's just say he got 10,000 Icosa, right? Because it was roughly an 8-to-1, so we'll just say it's a 10-to-1 for the sake of easy numbers. So this guy got 10,000 Icosa when he sold it to the contract, and then he took his 10,000 Icosa and he probably sold it for dollars, and then he was like, okay, now I got to go do this stuff and blah de da, and I know that my thing's going to be on the auction block in 90 days. So if he was smart, he could go and he could sell that stuff, take care of his problems, go make more money, buy some Hedron, and then by the time his auction came up, he would have enough Hedron to then start bidding on his own auction. Now, odds are he's going to have to bid a lot more than he was rewarded for it, because generally these HSI auctions, they sell for quite a lot more than whatever the people put them, or whatever the people got from the contract. But that's how that stuff works. Agent J, Nate, do you guys have any questions on anything I've covered so far? I've kind of been hopping around all over the place, but this is something that that Karim could have used if he had HSIs instead of native hex stakes. Now, to be fair for Karim, just so you guys know, this protocol wasn't out when he first started making his hex stakes, as far as I'm aware. It might have been, but these things came 3 years after Hex was invented, or 2.5 years after Hex was invented. So odds are that his hex stakes were already native, they were already done. But if you guys are creating hex stakes in the future, you can do it natively. There's no problem with that. It's the most direct way to interact with the Hex protocol, the Hex contract. But if you use the Icosa Hedron ecosystem and protocol and contract itself, then you have a separate contract that buffers in between you and the hex stake. So there's a little bit of potential risk in there, but there's also a lot of tools that you can use where you can turn your hex stakes into Icosa, even though without ever emergency end staking, without ever hurting the hex price chart. All that you do is you turn your hex into Icosa and you sell your Icosa on the open market. There's some other things that I'm going to cover too here in a minute. as far as like the arb ceiling and the X's and stuff for Hedron and Icosa, but we'll cover that in a minute. I want to give Nate and Agent J a moment to ask any questions if you guys have anything or any thoughts on this protocol.
Well, it's not necessarily a question. It's more like just kind of reiterating that personally, if you're going to be staking Hex, you want to be staking HSIs. And even though like you have the native Hex contract, right, and then the HSIs are another contract on top of it, right, and you interact with both. Well, the thing is though, like yes, that is more technically of a security risk. I get it, but with the allowing your Hex stakes to have many different methods of being able to use them, right? Rather than they're just sitting there. And the only method of like, I need money now is emergency end staking, which you get punished for, right?
Yep.
Instead of just that, with the HSIs, you're able to like move, as you were talking about, move them around and actually do something with them. And there's a lot of ways to extract money out of these Hex stakes now come an emergency. Unfortunately, that Karim probably didn't really have at the time, but yeah, there's a lot of money you're able to pull out that's going to help with like, oh no, I got an emergency here. So I think it's HSIs are basically the only, in my opinion, the only Hex stake you ever want to make. Because it just gives you so many more options to be able to deal with the surprises in life, you know. And options are always your number one thing that you want in life. Is like, hey, what are my options? Is this going to be locked in here and I can't touch it forever, or do I have options to be able to move it around and just in case life, you know, throws a curveball at me? That's kind of the way I look at it. So always do an HSI, in my opinion.
That's you're correct, Nate. It's well, and so. Nate's describing what I also consider to be a better tool. You do have the two tools. You can do the native stakes and you can do the HSIs. I think that like a native stake is like a hammer and an HSI is like a jackhammer. So like the jackhammer is a lot better than the hammer. But you're free to use the hammer if you want. Or you know, maybe a better way to describe it would be like it's a knife and it's a Swiss Army knife, right? You can use the knife or you can use a Swiss Army knife. And if you need to open up a bottle of wine, tighten a Phillips head screwdriver, pull out a toothpick, whatever the case may be, then you can do that as well. I am currently, by the way, going to be doing some live stuff on the air for you guys as far as like the staking in the Icosa stuff and the Hedron stuff. So I'm buying some of that stuff as we speak. So that way, oh goodness. So that way we can go through this process live. Agent J, do you have any thoughts or any questions whilst I am doing this?
Yeah. So Icosa and Hedron are probably they're probably my favorite utility projects built on, well, it's not built on Hex, but built for Hex.
Yeah.
Of all time, right? I love all the utility that it adds for Hex stakers, right? But and the utility is useful when you have enough liquidity in the market.
Yep.
But unfortunately, at this point in time, I just looked up the V3 pools for Icosa and Hedron. I don't think that they even have $50,000 worth of liquidity between the both of them.
Bro, they're tiny. You see that I'm getting $5.01 of Hedron for spending $5. That's like that's how down bad these things are.
That's
so,
like
so
the tokenization of your Hex stakes is valuable no matter what market conditions you're in, right? Because it allows you to move those Hex stakes from wallet to wallet. So it provides you a certain degree of insulation in case like one wallet gets hacked, you don't have all of your Hex stakes in one place. So that utility is good regardless, right? But if you're trying to take advantage of the HSI buybacks, if you're trying to create an HSI and take a loan against that HSI, you're only able to take advantage of those features in a market where the liquidity is deep within those assets, right? Because if you tried to do that now and you tried to sell your Icosa or your Hedron in the open market, like good luck.
Yes.
Good luck, bro.
Yeah, when it comes to liquidity, you're absolutely right. Like you can only ever take out as much liquidity as sitting there. That's the actual money you can take out. This is why slippage is a thing.
Yeah.
Right? If you have $1 million worth of let's just go ahead and throw something out. Let's do some fun stuff. So let's go ahead and say you have $1 million worth of ICOSA, right? But there's only 3,000. There's only 3,000 liquidity. You pull all of those millions of dollars out, right? You're maximum only going to get $3,000 out of it, and that slippage, the slippage, you'll watch the red candles just dip like this,
Bro.
So, yeah, that'd be insane.
V3 liquidity for a Hedron USDC pair is 39,000, bro.
Oof.
Whoa.
Hedron is
I'll tell you
actually
what,
The
Hedron's
pain,
pretty close to its all-time low as well.
the pain, bro. And
yeah.
that's,
I'm not gonna lie.
that's tragic because
Yeah, here's the thing though too. This is how you find like really good meme coins, or like coins that you're looking for X's on, right, guys? Okay, because everybody wants the X's, right? So if you have something that has only $39,000 in liquidity, okay, and somebody dumps $1 million worth of whatever into that liquidity pool, yo, that the for every 10x on liquidity is 100x on price. Okay, so you could imagine 1,000x of the liquidity, and now you've got a 10,000x on the price. That'd be absolutely insane. This is why you want to go for something with low liquidity, right? And you need to be careful when playing around with that stuff, because a lot of them are either like rugs, or possibly it's a coin that's dying. But I made a tweet about this, about trying to get the most X's as possible, and when you're looking through chains and trying to figure out, hey, is this a good buy? So something that's extremely cheap is going to have low liquidity, and you can go to my X Twitter and take a look at it, because I went into details about it. But there's a couple of things like who are the big players, what is the community doing, right? Is the community actually alive? Is it not just all bots? I mean, there's a lot of different things you can do to try and search for the low liquidity coins that people are going to be dumping a lot of extra money into, which are going to cause a huge amount of X's for you, aka you're early, right? So yeah, go ahead, take a check over on my X. You'll be able to learn from there.
Yep.
low liquidity, low market cap.
This is something having to do with the ICOSA and the Hex and the ARB ceiling and all of this other stuff. There was actually an ARB opportunity not too long ago, which is probably why there's a whole bunch of HSIs. Oh no, excuse me, that happened on the Ethereum side. It didn't happen on the Pulse Chain side. But there was an ARB opportunity, an arbitrage opportunity. This is one of the beautiful things that will happen with the ICOSA HSI buybacks, is sometimes whenever the Hex price is running, the ICOSA price, my goodness, at least 2 transactions go through already? Jeez Louise. Anyways.
Increase 10%.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna let it sit for now, and we'll see what happens. MetaMask is kind of annoying when it comes to Pulse Chain, guys. You can use MetaMask as you want. It's what I have loaded up on this particular web browser at the time. I should probably switch to Rabby Wallet or Internet Money. Internet Money is specifically built. Shout out to KG. Internet Money Wallet is specifically built for Pulse Chain, so it does a better job at guessing gas prices and everything. But one of the things, our good friend Crypto Sloth here, and this is going to be my sloth my sloth icon. This is an ICOSA Hedron that my brother made for me. But our good friend Crypto Sloth made this website called lookintohedron.com. I highly recommend you guys go take a look at it if you're interested in the ICOSA Hedron ecosystem. Sloth is like one of the subject matter experts on ICOSA Hedron, and I'm kind of like talking out of my ass here, but he legitimately like knows this stuff to a T. One of the cool things that you can do with ICOSA is, as the price of ICOSA runs very heavily, like because of buy pressure, sell pressure, whatever the heck, it creates an arbitrage opportunity. So right now, ICOSA is 3.4x to its ARB ceiling. Now, I don't know if this is on Pulse Chain or if this is on Ethereum, but what happened a couple months ago is the ICOSA price went above the ARB ceiling. So what that means is that the price of ICOSA was higher than the price that you would get by selling your ICOSA to the contract. Like if you guys remember, I get 9 ICOSA for selling this $1,000 or this 1,000 hex stake to the contract down here, right? So if this 9 ICOSA, which is worth 25 cents right now, okay, so this is probably his 3x is probably on the Ethereum side, which makes a lot of sense because the price of hex is just crazy tanked down there. But the price of ICOSA is pretty even on Ethereum and Pulse Chain. I don't think it's quite 1-to-1, but they're fairly close. 1 ICOSA on Ethereum is worth pretty close to 1 ICOSA on Pulse Chain. So anyways, when you get a stake and it's worth more as the ICOSA that you can sell it to the contract, then a really interesting thing happens. Then a bunch of people start taking a ton of hex. They stake it out 15 years. They tokenize it. They sell it to the contract. They get a bunch of ICOSA. They sell that ICOSA for more hex. And then they stake that hex 15 years, sell it to the contract, get more ICOSA, take that ICOSA, sell it for hex. And it creates this fucking flywheel that like it arbs the price back down of ICOSA because people are selling the ICOSA to buy hex. So it makes the ICOSA price go down and it makes the hex price go up. But because the ICOSA and the hex stuff are tied together so well, it creates this really cool arbitrage opportunity where you can get more hex for selling your hex stake to the ICOSA protocol, restake that hex out for 15 years, get more ICOSA, sell the stake back, and again, you're selling the stake for like for more than what the hex is worth alone. So it creates this really cool flywheel that cranks up the HSI auctions. So we don't see it right now, but let's go ahead and pull up all the HSI auctions. So some people were selling auctions. Whoa, what the heck? Why does this one? Oh, this guy must have defaulted or something because it's 256 days. So I'm not sure what the deal is with that one. But for like a lot of the guys inside the 90-day range, they're taking their hex stakes and they're selling it to the protocol. So these cats right here, they've all got a whole bunch of ICOSA in exchange for their hex stakes. It looks like they rebought a bunch of hex and then they resold it to the protocol and did that over and over again. Because yeah, these are brand new stakes, you know, been going for only like 0.32%. So these are fresh made stakes that somebody was like, okay, I'm selling this to the protocol. I'm getting my ICOSA. I'm making a new one. I'm fucking selling it, like probably keeping the profit, making another one, sending it to the protocol, like yada, yada, yada. This is just a way to print free money whenever the price of ICOSA is above its ARB ceiling. So Sloth's website here, look into hedron.com. It has the ARB values. It has a whole bunch of cool little moon math things, good HSI deals. Oh goodness, there's an error. No sweat. It talks about your yields. It talks about like it's got your iShares calculators. It's got a whole bunch of cool shit. So shout out to Crypto Sloth. And then also Dev Huey. He has created another website called hexmodel.com, which does a very similar thing. So this one, he has the ICOSA on Hedron, or the ICOSA Hedron on Pulse Chain, and he has the ICOSA Hedron on Ethereum. So he's got both of them there, all the hex data that he pulls. It also tells you your hex daily T-share payouts. So this is like you're going to get 7.3 hex per T-share on the Ethereum side, and you're going to get 7.1 hex per T-share on the Pulse Chain side. So this is some good stuff to have as well. Hexmodel.com by Dev Huey. You can actually subscribe to a premium version of this website and get even more information if you send him some monies and things. So Dev Huey is super cool in that respect. But it tells you like the distances to the ARB ceiling for Hedron, the distances to the ARB ceiling for ICOSA. And things of that nature. This tells you also how much ICOSA per hex you get. So it's 72 on Ethereum and it's 71.9 on Pulse Chain. So there's some of the cool stuff. This tells you the amount of ICOSA that you get per T-share if it's Quattro Cinco staked out. So if you've got one T-share on the thing, then you'll get 167 ICOSA per T-share on that particular hex stake and things. So, and then they've got some cool Hedron stats and some cool ICOSA stats. So we'll go ahead and show you guys this stuff as well. This is super neat if it'll ever pull up. Oh, this isn't the one I want to show you. The Icosa page one is the super cool one. So this tells you like how much Icosa you need to be, or how much of the stake stuff you need to have in order to be the different sized sea creatures inside of the league. So right now there is 46 million Icosa that are supplied. There's 56 million Icosa that's staked, and then there's like this much Hedron and this much Hedron respectively, like staked and everything. This is like how much of the tokens you have to stake in order to be this side or this size sea creature inside the league. So like for instance, if you want to be a whale in Hedron, then you have to stake a minimum of 1.5 trillion Hedron, which will stake it out for one whole year. You won't be able to touch it for a year. And there's only 4 people that have done that. So the amount of whales in the Hedron world is very small. The amount of like whales, sharks, dolphins, and squids in the Icosa world is much higher. It's a lot easier to grab a huge position in Icosa than it is to do so in Hedron, because Hedron again is only printed by people who have hex stakes. So if you don't have a hex stake, there's no way for you to get Hedron other than buying it off of the open market, which is generally like it doesn't create it as fast as people print it from just having big fat juicy hex stakes. So those are some cool websites that you guys can check out. Hexmodel.com. I'll go ahead and drop those in the chats so that way you guys have some resources and things. And then I'm going to do a round of scrolling through the chats so we can check out some chat shoutouts and things and see if there's any questions from the audience that I have not covered whilst I have been doing my little monologue and stuff. So Agent J, Nate, you guys got anything while I look through chats real quick?
No, sir.
So I went ahead and put everything. Oh, it looks like you put them in there too.
Oh, nice.
I put the websites in. Whoops. Okay, well, there's multiple websites there. They're all the same thing. Go ahead, click on any one you want. You should click on mine because mine are better than the Degen Roundtables one, obviously.
Excellent. All right, so I am scrolling through. Okay, so we're going to start off with Mr. Yellowtail. He was talking about P-Hex at an all-time low. He's actually got the price for us up here, 0.0039 for P-Hex. So that's a good amount of number of dollars for getting some P-Hex. That's excellent. Oh, and Hex Glenn talking about that you can see my mouse. Yes, absolutely you can. I don't know if you guys can see it on the live, but my mouse, the tail of my mouse wags left and right. I don't see it on the share screen, but that's fun. So yeah, you guys can see my mouse over here. Drip Fortune, where is the website? The website you can find at these URLs that are up here. So well, this is at Pateos. So if you want to go to the Icosa Hedron website, it is app.icosa.pro. And right now, because I'm in the HSI auctions, it's got me in the auction tab. But if I wanted to just go to the Hedron website, then I just go app.icosa.pro, and then it brings me automatically into the Hex side. So if you guys, I'll go ahead and copy and paste that and throw that in there as well for you, Mr. Drip Fortune. There's
I already got it for Drip.
Oh, you did? Oh, fucking A, bro. Good shit. Good shit. I love to see it. Oh, wow. Yeah, you are literally the next thing. Wow, look at me. That was 30 minutes ago, everybody. So goes to show how much I've been looking at chats while I've been going on my monologues. But Drip Fortune asking where's the website. Welcome to the channel, by the way, Drip Fortune. Good to see you, broski. Oh no, my mouse died. Well, good thing I've got a backup mouse. So all right. So we've got Drip Fortune over there asking about that. I got to pull myself some wire there because this is a wired mouse. All right. Let's see. Hex Monkey. Oh, fuck yeah. Hex Monkey. Good to see you, broski. I hope Icosa Hedron makes a big comeback soon. Yes, sir. So do I. And also, for those of you that don't know, our good friends GIF at the GIF team. So Larry Kinetics, Gifford, all those fellas, and then some devs in the background probably. They've all built an ecosystem that helps the price of Icosa some way somehow, using like the gifts and the buybacks and the burning and the token creation and stuff. It's oh shoot, I forgot. It's called Iburn. Iburn is the one for Icosa. So I will go ahead and drop that link in the chats as well. The Iburn protocol. This one's actually pretty cool. I'll go ahead and I'll go ahead and pull it up on my share screen here. Bazinga. Bam. iburn.win. So what's neat about this one, and it doesn't work right now because the prices are down bad. But iburn, what basically happens with iburn, actually, oh shoot, do I have any of these transactions gone through? Good golly, Miss Molly. No, they have not. All right.
So you got to up it by 10%.
That's a good
Yeah.
song.
Okay. We're gonna
Yeah.
speed it up. Estimated fee.
So
Sure.
for all of you out there who are kind of like, oh, what the hell is happening over here? Just to let you know, as of currently, MetaMask is struggling to calculate the gas fees on Pulse Chain, mainly because it's so low, hilariously enough. But which is a good thing, right? But so what I do to try and counteract this and make it go through at a normal pace, or what you would think would be a normal pace, is simply start it off as aggressive right away. It's so cheap, you know, there's no reason not to do it. But then if you want something to go through quickly, almost immediately go right back around to the MetaMask and then increase by 10%. And technically speaking, you should be able to keep increasing it until it just goes through like literally instantly. But I usually only do 1 to 2 times generally.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting here looking at the stuff. I don't really know how to do all this thing that you're describing, Nate. Otherwise, I would. If you see a place to tell me to click or whatever, then I'd be more than happy to click. But this is,
you know, it's funny enough. The reason why I learned it is because I was trading shit coins.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Oh shoot.
Transaction kept getting stuck.
Yeah, I could overwrite the nonce if I wanted to and just create a whole new one. I think I might do that. Hey, so if you guys want to see how to overwrite a nonce, we're gonna go ahead and do that live right now. So let's see if I can remember how to do this. So the first thing, if you've got a transaction and it's stuck and you don't know what to do and the speeding up isn't working, cool beans. I just hit the speed up. I hit the speed up again. I hit the speed up again. Whatever. If that's not working, then what you do is you go down here to settings. You then go to advanced. And then there's an option in here.
Will, before you guys continue, I do have to head out. So
okay.
My goodbyes to both of you and to the chat. Thank you for the fantastic show as always, gents, and I'll catch you guys in
Agent J. Yes, sir. Thank you for joining us, and good job sticking with us. I know we're 2.5 hours in, so appreciate it, broski. Take it easy. We'll catch you on the flip side.
Thank you for hopping on.
Have a good night.
Yes.
Take care, chat.
Great TA, by the way.
We're gonna go ahead and give you some cheering. Yeah, because he's the greatest dancer.
All right, getting loose out here.
Yep. Okay. So let's see. Oh man, I gotta not play around with all our sound effects. Okay, so back to the stuff. Can you see this MetaMask up here? Because I'm in a different. Oh, look at that. The swaps failed. Very nice.
Yeah, no, I cannot see it.
Oh, you can't see the MetaMask?
It's a different screen. So what you have to do is you have to share. You have to share the actual like screen itself rather than just the one thing that you got on there.
Let me remove all of my. Okay. Don't save that. Yeah, I'll share my entire screen. Okay. Let's see. Stop screen, present, share screen, entire screen. Oh boy, here we go. Okay. And to share. So now you guys get to see everything that's going on. Wow, look at that. Here's all of our.
Wow, you have 2 screens going on there now.
No, I have an ultra wide monitor.
Oh.
So yeah, so I gotta be careful. Make sure not to click on silly things here. But anyways, this is my wallet thing. So if I click on the MetaMask.
Yeah, let's try.
Cool beans.
Are we able to zoom that up?
Yep. Oh man.
Yeah, it's tiny.
Let me do that. Does that help? That's about as.
Try clicking critical plus on
critical
side of your screen. On that side of your screen.
Like a right. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. There you go.
Hang on. Critical plus. Oh, you're talking about like control.
There you go. All right, now let's see. There you go. Now let's see if that works for the MetaMask.
Okay.
I'm not sure if that would
I don't know
actually work for it. Yeah.
Fiddlesticks. Oh well. But the point is, okay, so this is how you guys this is how you do things and stuff. So fortunately, I was lucky because the swap failed, so I could just do it again. But if you guys ever get a stuck transaction, right, there's a couple of things that you can look at here. So this is a nonce. This is the number of transactions that you've done on this wallet in particular using this browser or this extension or this whatever the heck thing. So I'm gonna full screen layout. I'm gonna deselect that. There we go. Bring us back so that way you can see me and Nate's beautiful faces. So over here, nonces, right? So this 113, this is my specific transaction done in this specific wallet on this specific thing. This transaction failed, but let's say you've got a stuck transaction because that happens from time to time. What you need to do is you go up here to this little thing, this little triple dot button. We call it the squished hamburger because normally, like when it's elongated, that it's like a hamburger bun, the hamburger meat, then the hamburger patty, or then the hamburger second half of the bun. But anyways, you go up here to this little triple dot number. You click on settings. You scroll down to advanced, and then down here somewhere it's going to say custom nonce list. So customized transaction nonce. This is the thing that that will allow you to override transactions. So whenever you get a stuck transaction, you go to the advanced settings, customize transaction nonce, you turn that bad bitch on, right? So there she is. Bam, we'll click out of there. And then I'm gonna, oh man, I guess I can make that a little bit smaller or something. I'm gonna send it to, no, we'll put it at 100 something. Because why not? Right? Cool beans. So we'll go to Potaus. Oh, I should zoom in on this one too. Oh wow, look at that. That's obnoxious. All right, cool. So swap failed. Hooray. So I was going to swap $5 because I got $20 in this wallet. I'm going to swap $5 for Hedron. Hooray. Swap. Confirm. Swap failed. Oh, son of a bitch. Okay. Well, we're gonna
You got to look at your slippage.
Yep. We're going to do the old retry. Okay. Hedron. We're going to be spending USDC. Got $5. There we go. Oh, wow. USDC, 5 USDC is worth 501. That's pretty nifty. So it's fetching the price. And while
you get an extra penny.
What's that?
Oh, I just said you get an extra penny.
Oh, yeah. So we're getting $5.02 worth of Hedron. So that's pretty cool beans. So we're up here. We've got, this is our custom nonce. So if this transaction doesn't go through, then, so you were talking about, Nate, for the estimated fee, you click on this little button right here. You click on aggressive, right? Or do you click on advanced?
Yes, aggressive.
Aggressive. All right. So aggressive will give us a little bit more. So you notice if we choose low, this number should go down. Shouldn't it?
It should, but that's the problem that I've been having because it's hard to calculate it, and so that's why it's been getting screwed up. So that's why I just throw it on aggressive anyways, and then it'll calculate it as it's trying to think.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, I'm going to go ahead and hit the confirm, and we'll see if that transaction goes through. And then if it doesn't go through, that'll give us the perfect opportunity for us to do a nonce overwrite. So we've got the swap right here. We're going to look at the nonce. It is nonce number 114. So if this transaction doesn't go through in like a second or two, then we're going to do a fancy schmancy send, which is where we basically copy our token address. So I'm going to go ahead and do it right now. I'm going to pretend that we can't fucking send some shit. So not send some stuff. This transaction stuck. It's stuck for days, whatever. How do we fix it? We go to the send, and then this is from our account, and we're going to send a token straight to ourselves. So we type in the address, and it auto-populates it right there. And then I'm going to send 1 PLS to myself using, come on. Oh, do I have to send more? I might have to send more. Hang on. I'm going to send 100. Will that give me a, come on, you bastard. Oh, 100 PLS. Okay. No, we'll send the max to ourselves, actually. Oh, wow. Oh, never mind.
Looks like it went through.
Transaction went through before we were able to do it. But the way that you guys do that is you send money to yourself. You literally just you can send 0 tokens to yourself as long as it has a gas fee. Well, that's interesting that it shows me that it's still doing this. That's MetaMask for you. But anyways, if you have a transaction and it's stuck, then what you do is you simply go to the send, you send yourself your own money, and then there will be an option in there after you get past this page there will be an option in there where you can send yourself. Oh, there we go. Continue. Right. I am sending 0 posts to myself, and this is the fee. Look at that. Wow. It gives you the option to write a custom nonce. So instead of it being 115, I would just make it 114 again. And because that other transaction was transaction number 114, this transaction will wipe the other one clean, and it will theoretically get approved before the other one has the while the other one is stuck off in limbo everywhere. So I bought some Hedron. I'm buying some Icosa. Good golly, Miss Molly, this process is taking us a bit of a day. So we've got Icosa.
You know, the interesting thing is
Hedron.
that I've never had to do that. So you're actually teaching me something right now.
Oh, you've
The
never
reason
done
why
that
is
before?
because yeah,
Oh,
I've never
okay.
had to, because even with my stuck transactions, if I just keep spamming the increase by 10%, it's like
Oh, really?
it always just ends up going through.
Oh, damn. Well, good luck to you, bro. I've had stuff. For those of you guys that don't remember, we had Almighty on the show a while back, and he was launching the kitty token. When that was going through, there was a lot of people with stuck transactions. There's a lot of people with MetaMask because everyone was just trying to spam the buy for the crazy hype when that token launched. So lessons learned there. But everyone was trying to spam the buy, and nobody was able to get transactions through because the price was fluctuating so fast. So not only did you have to have like a crazy high slippage acceptability, but you also had to be on top of the ball with MetaMask. So if you got a stuck transaction, it would screw you out of any activity that you could get, similar to when Pulse Chain first launched to begin with. But if ever you guys need to get out of a stuck transaction, that's the way you would do it. Is you just go to that nonce, and then you change it right on over. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to show you guys some of the features that you can use on this process and protocol and everything. So
So
we've got
before
some
doing
Hex.
that, are we gonna switch back over to the single screen so that way people can see easier?
Oh yeah, that's a good plan. Good plan, Nate. So I will stop screen presenting. Look at this. All right. Oh yeah, because we were just doing that to show MetaMask. Damn, I got a good ass co-host. Thank you, Nate. All right. Share screen, and I'm gonna choose window. There we go. Icosahedron. All right. So now I've got the clean screen back again. Okay, so I'm actually going to drag this over to where I can see it correctly, and I don't have to like look over to the side all the time. All right, so we've got our Hex, we've got some Hedron, and we've got some Icosa. So I'm going to show you guys how to use the protocol. So if I got some Icosa, what can I do with that Icosa? Well, I could stake it. I could sell it. I could do a whole bunch of things. What's really cool about the Icosa staking is that when you stake your Icosa, and when you stake your Hedron for that matter, whenever people go to these HSI auctions and they're buying the HSIs off of the chopping block, two things happen. Thing number one is this Hex stake is sent back out to whoever buys it. Thing number two, the Hedron that they used to buy this auction is then dispersed between the stakers for Icosa and the stakers for Hedron, and it's burned. It's gone forever. So one of the cool things about Hedron is that not only does it inflate, but it also deflates. And the rate at which people are taking the HSIs that are being are printing Icosa out of thin air, whenever they sell them to the contract, is there then like people are burning Hedron 90 days later to get those juicy HSIs, and they're always burning more Hedron than was minted in the process of getting that HSI. Like whoever borrowed the money, the amount of money so people have an asset. They have the Hex stake. They sell the Hex stake to the contract. The contract gives them $1. In order for somebody to buy that contract 90 days later, they have to spend at least $1. But people pretty much always spend more than $1 to get that contract. So homeboy number one needed $1. He sold his $10 thing to get $1. And then other people are buying this $1 thing for like $5, $6, $7. They're probably never going to pay $10 to buy the $1 thing because it was worth $10 to begin with, but they might pay $6. And so you've got the same asset that's worth $10. It never disappeared, never did anything, but you've got somebody who is like, man, I need money right now, so I guess I'll take a 90% loss, but it's still better than doing an emergency end stake and getting fucking nothing for it. So like there's this super cool, just big thing. And then when that person spends the $6 to get that $1 asset, That $6 is split into 2 chunks of 3. $3 goes to Hedron and Icosa stakers. $3 gets burned forever. That's my understanding of the protocol. So when I go to Icosa and I want to create a stake, I'm going to stake the maximum amount of COSA that I have. So it's 168.
Because maxis for life. That's why.
Yep. Max it, baby. So because you guys will remember that the minimum amount to be a squid in the Icosa ecosystem is 489. I am less than, oh, there we go. I am less than 489. I've got 168. So it's only going to let me, I can only stake for 30 days. Now, what's cool about this is that you could just let the stake roll. The minimum amount is the minimum amount. You can't stake for, you can't, if you stake it, which I'm about to do, right? So I've clicked the stake. I'm going to go ahead and approve the contract up top. And then I will have a 168 Icosa stake. And I won't have the Icosa anymore. It'll be in the contract, and I will have an ownership percentage of the pool. So while the blockchain is taking its time and the API is taking its time reading the blockchain, we're gonna go ahead and stake some Hedron as well. So I've got the Hedron. Oh, hey, look at that! It updated while we were in the middle of it. So I've staked this much Icosa. This is what the stake is worth in K points. These are how many K points are, or these are how many points are in the system total. And this is my current ownership of the pool. I am 0.0002% ownership of the staking pool for Icosa. And as you guys will recall, if we pull up Hex model, this is how much Icosa is currently staked. It's 58 million. So, yeah. So there we go. That's the information on that. So that's what you can do with your Icosa. You stake it. Cool beans. The next thing you can do, or the next thing we're going to do is we're going to stake our Hedron. So we've got Hedron. Hooray, it looks like 112 million. Wow, that's actually quite a bit for $5. Fucking A. Hedron, I'm pretty sure Hedron's next to its all-time low. So if you guys want some Hedron, like, I'm not giving you financial advice to buy some, but I've certainly been buying some, because one of the actually we're not going to stake our Hedrons. We're going to go take a look at the HSI auctions. So right now there are no HSIs that are available, right? The next available HSI is in 27 days. But in 27 days, I can actually take this Hedron right here and I can use it. It's 112 million. I can use this Hedron to like start bidding on these auctions. There's none available right now, but it's always fun to.
You should be able to bid on it, right?
Well, no,
you go
these
to
ones,
actions.
they're not available. It's got another 27 days. So like this is the active ones. These are the ones that are like on the chopping block. This is like the feeding tube.
Wow.
Yeah, this is the magazine that's full of all the HSIs that exist. Actually, if we switch over to the Ethereum side, I bet there's a shit ton of them. So I've opened up MetaMask and I'm switching over to Ethereum. And let's take a look at what's on the HSI chop block for Ethereum, because I bet there's a ton, especially with all that when the price of Icosa shot up a couple months back when the iBurn contract came out. There were some people that were doing the flywheel of the ARB thing, because the Icosa price shot up above the arbitrage value. So people were literally buying Hex, staking at Quattro Cinco, getting the Icosa, using that to buy more Hex, staking at Quattro Cinco, selling it to the protocol, and doing that over and over again until the price of Icosa went down. But there were still people that were buying more Icosa off of the open market because of the iBurn protocol. So like the iBurn and the HSI auctions were kind of like, they were like competing with each other, and people were just buying up all the Icosa. And so lots of people got lots of Hex and lots of money and things. And I'm going to see if this will help. Sometimes clicking on the connect wallet thing will make it load faster. Sometimes it won't. But anyways, this is the Ethereum side. So it's the same principle. I'm going to go ahead and switch back to Pulse Chain so that way we can continue with our display here. So we've got some Icosa. We've staked it. Now, when you stake Icosa, you receive Icosa and you receive Hedron. So as I told you guys earlier, you get those $3 worth of Hedron because somebody spent $6 on the HSI auction. The yield for staking comes from the people that are buying HSI auctions. When the protocol first came out, there was a whole bunch of it in reserve that was just like feeding out the stakers. And that time is long gone. Now the only thing that feeds the stakers is the HSI auctions. So as soon as that Icosa arbitrage flywheel starts up again, if the price of Icosa exceeds Hex, then it restarts this staking wheel where people can then stake Icosa, earn more Icosa and Hedron. Because like I told you earlier, there's the 3 Hedron units that are sent and burned away forever, and there's the 3 units that are sent to the stakers of Hedron and Icosa. Part of it's put in to the Icosa staking pool, part of it's put into the Hedron staking pool. The guys that are staking Hedron, they only receive Icosa. So as you guys can see over here, if we stake Hedron, I'll go ahead and create a Hedron stake. I'll max it out because fuck it, why not? Approve unlimited. Bam, hit the MetaMask thing. You guys can't see the MetaMask, so you just have to take my word for it. But I'm doing an approval right now. And then as soon as the approval goes through, then it will allow me to stake more of the Hedron. But anyways, all that's going on. And once that transaction is approved, then I should be able to max out the Hedron stake and yada, yada, yada. So while that's all happening, I'm going to head and make a Hex stake natively. So that way you guys can see how the Hex staking works on the native part of the Icosa Hedron website. So this is
Only native, not an
app.icosa.pro.
HSI.
Yeah, I'm going to show them how to do a native, and I'm going to show them how to do an HSI. So
Sounds good.
first thing is I'm going to create a stake, and I'm not going to max it because I'm going to split half of my Hex. Well, I'm just going to do 1,000 because why not? I'm going to stake it for 4.5 because that's just the way I do. This is this is my this is my pulse domain will.pls.fyi. So you guys will be able to see this whole journey for those of you that stick around for 15 years. 4.5, baby. We're staking all the way to the day I die.
Can you imagine? We'll be like, you remember 15 years ago when you did that one show?
Yep. So you guys get to see it live. So right here we have the bigger pays or the longer pays better bonus, and we have the bigger pays better bonus. I don't get anything because this is an insignificant amount of Hex to stake as far as the Hex bigger pays better bonus goes. But the longer pays better bonus, if you stake anything past 360, then it treats it as if you're staking that bottom amount, this amount right here, in addition to this right here. So as you guys can see, the Hex T-share rate for today is 36,000, right? So when I go to create a stake, if I stake 36,328, then I get 1 T-share, as you guys can see right here. Now, if I stake it for 1 day, that's my T-share rate. Now, if I stake it for 100 days, then it gives me a little bit. It treats
I think we had
the
10 days.
yeah, it treats the stake as if 10 days. It treats the stake as if I'm staking this 179 more in addition to this number right here. If I stake it for 100 days, then it treats it as if I'm adding this much Hex to my stake, which increases my stake T-share rate. If I stake it for 1,000 days, you guys can see the way that this works. The longer you stake, the higher your T-share rating. So this is essentially saying like, hey, instead of me staking this much Hex for this Hex for this many days, it's adding this number right here to my original Hex stake number up top. So instead of me staking 36,000 Hex, it's treating it as if I'm staking 56,000 Hex, which gives me 1.5 T-shares. So for these 1,000 days, I'll be getting 1.5 times whatever the daily T-share rate is added to this amount right here. And that will be the total amount of Hex that I receive after the entire stake duration is over. So that's the way that Hex staking works for those of you guys that don't know. The most bonus that you can get is a 2 times bonus. So I'll go ahead and change this number for the sake of simplicity, right? So after 3,650 days, so that's 10 years, you get the maximum bonus for the longer pays better, which is 2 times bonus, right? So we stake for 5,555. We stake for 4.5 here, as far as I'm concerned. So that's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna get the biggest bonus possible.
Imprint your tattoo on there. Just
Yep, there we go, baby. Staking for 4.5. Select stake type. So we're gonna do a native Hex stake, and then we're gonna go ahead and stake the Hex. Hooray! Now I hit the confirm button, and because I made this stake at let's see, it is 9:49 p.m. here in Texas, so that means that over in London it would be almost 3 in the morning, if I'm not mistaken. So this stake will sit stagnant until 7 o'clock p.m. Central Time, Texas time tomorrow, when it will count as an actual stake. So as you guys can see, there is 0 progress on this stake. No days have been counted. There's no Hedron that's been minted. There's no Hedron. Well, the bonus doesn't matter, but there's no mintable Hedron. So after tomorrow, this number will go up because, or excuse me, maybe not after tomorrow, maybe the day after tomorrow. But the point is, like, whenever you start the Hex, the Hex stake itself starts at 0 p.m. UTC, so London time. It starts at 0 UTC after you start the Hex stake. Like, if you do the transaction at any point in time in the day, its start time is 0 UTC. And after that start time, it'll start collecting days, and it'll be an effective Hex stake. So right now, this means nothing. I can't do anything with it. Like, I can tokenize it or whatever. But because it's a native Hex stake, all that I can do is emergency end stake it, right? So now we'll go on over to the Hedron side, where we're going to make our HSI. So I'm going to create a stake. I'm going to stake 1,000 Hex for, you guys already know, Cuatro Cinco. We're going to select the type as an HSI. So this is creating a smart contract between me and the Hex contract that runs on Pulse Chain. So first thing I have to do is approve an unlimited amount, so that way I can make this stake. So there's my approval, and we're going to wait for that to go through, and then that will happen at some point. Whilst we wait for that, I'm going to pull up MetaMask up here. The approval is pending. So we're going to, while we're waiting for this HSI thing to approve, we're going to go back to Icosa. Allegedly. There we go. Sometimes the website does a little bit of a fuck around, but we're going to pretend that it's all hunky-dory.
It really does. It gets annoying sometimes, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure how Web3 apps work, like, compared to normal websites. I know that they feed off of 2 things. They feed off of the normal internet, and they feed off of blockchain data. So it's like, I don't know where the hiccups. I don't know where the hiccups lie. I barely know how to click the start button, boys. But we're gonna go ahead and show you how to stake the Hedron. So as you guys might remember, I staked Icosa earlier, and it's not showing up. But it's also not showing me like anything up top. So that's super cool and fun. So this is just the website being slow, or the blockchain being frisky, or something to that extent. Oh, wow. Okay, so it's not reading anything from MetaMask right now. So that's super fun.
It is broken.
I'm going to click connect wallet. We're doing it fucking live, boys and girls. We're doing it fucking live.
It happens every once in a while. You might want to go, like, not necessarily refresh, but try and possibly just like reopening.
Ooh, we can do the. I'm gonna.
Is it working now?
Check MetaMask. Let me check MetaMask. Oh, it's still approving. All right.
Yeah,
so
and the connect wallet. It always says the connect the wallet up there. It never actually says your number, which is I think it's just kind of a glitch. I think this website in general needs to be updated. But yeah, we'll get that eventually.
Yeah.
2
Alex
weeks,
is
right?
doing. He's doing important things. He's probably not worried very much about. Oh, look at that! I done goofed. Wow. Okay. There we go. Well, that's a good sign. But yeah, you'll get this on these big jobs. But yeah. Oh, that's right. I was in the middle of chat shoutouts when I distracted myself. So I'm gonna go ahead and go back to that whilst we whilst we wait. Man, I got distracted like a silly goose. So thank you guys for chilling. Those of you who are still hanging around with us here on this so far 2 hours and 52-minute stream. We stopped off with Hex Monkey saying that he hopes Icosahedron makes a big comeback soon. So I hope that as well, sir. Good to see. Next up, we got Mr. Beyond All. While you're on this topic about Icosahedron, or Hedron Icosa, has there been any updates from the bearded man, Alex, in regards to the migration and new contracts, and would it reignite others? I do not know. If there are any updates, I am not in the loop about it. I haven't checked
we really don't. So Alex, right now, he's the only update we've gotten, even in, like, let's just say closer circles, more tight-knit circles, is basically that he's working on something. And it's a big deal. It's a big deal, but it's extremely complicated, takes up a lot of money and a ton of effort. And so this was, oh Jesus, this was back in springtime. So this is, he's out there working, but it's all background type stuff. So just stay tuned and you will be rewarded.
I'm going to go ahead and read out loud for you guys the last pin message in the... Okay, there's 32 pin messages from Hedron announcements. Wow, this is August 11th of 2023. Never mind, guys. That was a year ago. So I'm not going to read you the year ago announcement. I'm just basically going to say that, yeah, no updates so far, Mr. Beyond All from Alex. But yeah, as Nate was saying, he is working hard on complicated things. So there is that. Yep, Nate, you responded that waiting for Alex to come back. Mr. Hexglen saying that rising tide lifts all ships. You're absolutely right about that. Oh wow, there's all the links that we've dropped. Excellent down there. Oh, look at that. We've got Mr. Fast Abdul, Pulse Jitsu with Fast Abdul. This is an intellectual robbery. Tell me your secrets. Mr. Fast Abdul, I'm trying to tell you as many secrets as I can while I wait for this API to load up. I think API is the right word. I'm not entirely sure. But good to see you, Mr. Fast Abdul. Welcome to the channel as well. All right, that does it for chat shoutouts. Let's take a look at this stuff and see what we got. Okay, so the Hex native stuff, we're hunky-dory there. For the Hedron side, we're going to go and create a stake. This is an HSI. So I'm going to do 1,000 Hex. I will stake it for 4-5. It will give me this bonus of 2,000 Hex. It'll treat it like I'm staking 3,000 Hex, which will then net me 82.58 B shares. So I will now select my type of Hex stake. I've chosen HSIs, so that way we can use it to interact with the contract. Yep, because that's the best one. It's the thing that allows you to do the most stuff. If you want safety and security and you want to just like bury your seed phrases and never do anything with your Hex stakes, then you can like consider using the native Hex stakes like over here up top. But if you want to use it and you want to be able to potentially like sell your Hex stakes, like you don't know what kind of problems are going to come up, like Nate was saying earlier. You don't know when shit's going to go sour. You don't know any of that crap. So like having HSIs like they are, it's super safe. Nothing has gone wrong with the contract ever since Alex launched it. I think there was even a slight nod to the Icosa and the Hedron when the God Whale paired liquidity of Icosa with Hex. And so I'm pretty sure that happened a while back. I'm not entirely positive. So if the God Whale is connected to the origin address or something like that, then that's pretty cool. If they gave a slight nod, but I know that Richard Hart did say that Alex is a smart cat and that he was like he gave some sort of like subtle nod to the protocol. I don't know if it was a direct like, hey, good job, Alex, or if it was just like a something else of that nature. But anyways, the point is like these contracts have not failed so far, and they've been out for I don't know, almost a little over 2 years now. So shout out to Alex in the Icosa Hedron system. So anyways, this is how you create an HSI stake. So I've gone ahead and hit approve in the MetaMask. We're just going to wait for that transaction to go through. It's doing a contract interaction right now. So as soon as we see that Hex stake pop up right here, we've already got our Hex stake from before, our 1,000 Hex staked natively that we can't do anything with other than emergency end stake. That's all that we can do with that bad boy. Oh, hey, look at that. There's our stake. Woohoo! So we've got our 1,000 Hex stake, staked for 4-5. These are the stake shares, yada, yada, yada. So things we can do. What can we do? We can tokenize it, or we can emergency end stake. What happens when we tokenize? Well, let's go ahead and find out. We'll tokenize that HSI. Like if you guys were watching earlier, you have already seen this process. I'm selecting the approve in MetaMask. And then it's going to add it down here to my other tokenized HSI. So then we're just going to go ahead and pretend that it's already done that. The MetaMask is processing right now. So in some unit of time, this bad boy will jump on down to here and we'll see it. But I'll go ahead and show you what you can do with it from this. Oh, it showed 2 of them. All right. Well, that's pretty cool. This is probably just an API mess up or a website mess up or something, but it thinks that I have 2 of them. So that's pretty neat. The actions that we can do from here. Yeah, for real.
An airdrop.
Money. Yeah. I don't actually have 2 of them. It's just not doing a very good job of displaying. So things we can do from here is we can transfer it. So if this wallet I'm using is compromised, then you can hit the transfer button and you can put in 0x0000000 whatever, and you can send it to. Oh goodness, that's the wrong button. You can send it to whatever address you want. And it also gives you like the stats for it and like what it can do and la-di-da-di-da. And then you just click on the transfer button and it sends that HSI over to someone's address, like whether it's yours or whether it's someone else's, whatever the case may be. So that's one way that you can transfer HSIs. Another thing that you can do is you can detokenize it, and that'll put it back up into this category. For the detokenizations, actually, I'll go ahead and detokenize this one. Oh no, I already did that earlier. I already showed you guys like you can detokenize and then use it to mint the Hedron and all that stuff. The next thing we could do is we could sell that tokenized HSI to the Hex contract. So we'll go ahead and do that for you. So you guys remember that what it was. What the fuck? Oh my god. I thought there was a beast outside my room. It was a fucking alarm. I have an alarm
Damn.
of a husky doing the wah wah wah, and like it's right next to the window. Like if you guys can see inside my Connex, there's a window right here. Oh dang, you can only see the first aid kit. But anyways, I have a window right there. And I heard the fucking husky singing because I have an
Almost
alarm
had to
set
pull
for
out
10
pull
o'clock.
out a gun.
Dude, I
Gotta
was
shoot
like,
something.
what the fuck's going on, man? Anyways, back to what we're doing. My God, thank you guys for having the patience and dealing with us. So if you guys will recall, with the hex that is staked for it's 1,000 hex. It's a little bit more B shares than this one because I made it a long time ago when the T share rate was or wherever this hex stake came from. I don't know if I won this, if I bought this from an HSI auction or what the case was, but whatever the case was, it was created a long time ago, and so it got a higher B share rate. But because it's not staked for 5,555 days, there's no bonus. If I show you guys what happens, you guys will remember, or show you right now, I suppose, this token or this HSI is worth 13.89 ICOSA because there's a 1.26 Quattrocinco bonus. So I'm going to cancel this, and I'm going to remind you guys, like this one that's staked out for 10 years, how much ICOSA do I get? I get 9.5 ICOSA. The one that is staked out for 15 years, I get a little bit more ICOSA. I get 14. So, or almost 15. So we're going to go ahead and approve, and we're going to sell this to the ICOSA contract, and you guys will get to see. So allow access to and transfer all of your Hex stake instance. So I'm going to click confirm. I'm going to click approve, and this will allow me to do another MetaMask sell transfer thing, and it will allow me to, or excuse me, I'm using MetaMask to approve the transaction for me to sell this HSI to the smart contract. So now we're waiting for that approval to go through. Gonna open up MetaMask. Yep, the approval is pending.
Did you see it?
Was that? Oh,
What
I did not see it. Let me
just clicked it so
look.
fucking fast.
Yeah, I mean, I don't look at the
care.
gas anymore. Yeah, it's an approval, so it's like 6 pulls.
Yeah.
So,
oh Jesus. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, approvals aren't very expensive. But yeah, pay attention when you guys are approving things. You can choose to either approve the specific amount or you can approve a grand total huge amount. The option's up to you. It's just the same as when you go to an exchange. You can approve it to sell all your tokens, or you can do one approval per sale and only sell the exact amount of tokens that you want to sell. The choice is yours, and there's a couple of different ways. All right, so my approval is confirmed. So now we're going to take the stake that I just made and we're going to sell it at a loss to the ICOSA contract. So if you guys will remember, 1,000 hex is approximately like $5. So we'll pull up. Wow, look at that. ICOSA, there's hex. So if I've got 1,000 hex, it's worth $4. Cool beans. Now, when I sell this 1,000 hex stake that I just spent $5 on, I'm going to get 13.8 ICOSA. And I don't know if it's plus this bonus or if that's the whatever, but sell the HSI. Hooray. So now I go to this thing and I'm going to hit approve on the MetaMask. So I've gone ahead and approved it. So now it is selling this HSI and I'm going to get this much ICOSA in my wallet. Hooray. Let's say I just needed the money really badly. I had $4 worth of hex and I'd already staked it out for 15 years. And I'm like, oh shoot, my bills my bills are coming in. I need to go buy more squeaky chairs, or I need to buy like my cat has an emergency nail clipping emergency, and I got to take it over to the vet to get its nails trimmed. So as you guys can see, the hex stake is gone. No longer belongs to me, but I've got 13 Icosa. Hooray! So I can take that Icosa and I can do things with it, right? So I can go to Pateus and I can sell that Icosa. Let's see. ICSA. There we go. Icosa. And if I'm selling, oh shoot. There we go. Flip that upside. Oh, there we go. Man, we're going to max it out. Selling my 13 Icosa, I get 41 cents instead of 25. So $4 into 41 cents. We're going to take a look at this route. So pretty much all Icosa is paired up with Hex. That's the most like liquid pool. And then Hex, and then some Icosa is paired with Pulse, which is paired with Dye, which is paired with Hex. Oh wait, hang on a minute. I don't want Hex for it. Okay. So as you guys can see, I would be losing money if I was doing this continuously. So I just took 1,000 Hex, staked it out, turned it into 13 Icosa, and now I can buy 100 Hex. So right now, using this protocol for this specific purpose is not profitable at all. You cannot make more money doing this. You have to wait for the Icosa to get above the ARB ceiling, as we had mentioned earlier. So the arbitrage, whenever you see, wow, I guess the stuff, man, just everything is not loading today, isn't it? All right, whatever. We're going to pretend that it loaded. All right. So whenever the price of Icosa is above the ARB ceiling, then the amount of Icosa up here will get you more Hex down here than whatever it was that you staked. So if 13 Icosa got me 101,000 Hex, then it would be profitable to do so. And then you could just buy Hex, stake it, buy Hex, stake it, sell it to the contract, get the Icosa, use that Icosa to buy the Hex, etc., on into infinity. And basically what that does is it takes HSIs and it gives them out to people. Let's see if it added mine to the list right here. That would be super cool if it's at the very bottom. I'm hoping it is. Haha, there it is. Look at that. This is me. So I just did this right here. So now in 90 days, some poor asshole is going to be able to buy my Hex stake for, so let's see. It was, they can buy it for 458,000 Hedron. So let's actually test my theory. Icosa into HDRN. So Hedron, bam. So we're going to turn this 13 Icosa that I just made into Hedron. And I'm going to guess it's going to be 493,000 or something like that. Oh, whoa. What? How the hell does that work? Okay, well, that's pretty cool. So if I take my Icosa right now and I sell it for Hedron, then I get 9 million Hedron. That's pretty fucking nifty. You know what I can do with that 9 million Hedron? Is I go back over here to my HSI and the auction starts at 400,000. So
infinite money glitch.
If I get 9 million and I buy it back, right? I got to wait. See, here's the problem is you have to wait 90 days. And odds are somebody's going to outbid me, right? So like, and there's two things here in the HSI auctions. There's the current bid, there's the discount for the Hex, and then there's the discount for the Icosa. So we can't see it right now because there's no auctions that are live, but if somebody had like it, so the discount for the Icosa is like, if you take your Icosa that you got from the contract and you turn it into Hedron, right? Then that's your discount. As soon as this auction number, let's say that we start the auction off right here at 500,000 Hedron. So I still have 8.5 million Hedron left over if I do that bid and nobody else bids on it. Now odds are somebody else is going to bid on it because like you'd be getting a Hex stake at like 99% off. So people are going to see things that are 99% off, 99% off sale. They're going to hop in there and they're going to buy it. So you're only going to be able to start the auction with this amount of money right here. You're not going to finish the auction with that. I guarantee you. So anyways, theoretically infinite money glitch, but you have to wait 90 days and you have to win the bid. Neither of those things are likely. So, anyways, that's how this works. So in 90 days, who knows? Maybe I will buy my Hex stake back. I probably won't. Somebody else will probably beat me to it because that's the way that this game works. So,
Well, you
anyways,
think about it though, because that does mean that somebody would have to pay over 9 million hedron for that at that point in time, right? So
yeah.
it's like,
So
are they really gonna do that? Are they really gonna go that much over how much it was worth?
yeah, who knows?
Maybe
Who
they
knows?
will.
Well, so here's the thing. The Hex is worth more than what I got for the loan, right? So 1,000 Hex is worth $4. 9 million hedron is worth 40 cents.
So it's
So,
technically worth 90 million then at that point.
yep. So the stake is worth 90 million. So as long as people only spend like 80 million, then they're still in the green, right? They got a Hex stake at a 10% discount. And
Nice.
the Hex stake is 90 days old. So it's got 90 days of yield. It's got 90 days of mintable hedron in it already. It's got all these other things attached to it. So that's how this
Hex
whole
Glen, that is a great
process
idea,
works.
by the way. See Hex Glen
what
in
does Hex
the
Glen
chat
got?
there.
Let's revisit this after 90 days. Ooh, that's a good plan.
That is a good
Let's see.
plan.
What day is it today? Today is the. Oh, that's
Today's
the wrong
Sunday.
one. Today is Sunday the 1st. So,
DRT Sunday.
ooh, bro, 9/1. So 9, 10, 11. So on December 1st is when
December
we
1st.
check this out again. So
Fun.
December 1st, ladies and germs. That's when we'll be doing the auction, and then we can see you guys can see how far this this journey goes. So, anyways, that's the idea of how to use the icosahedron protocol. Oh shit, look at that. I didn't stake the hedron yet. That's something I got to show you guys how to do. So, hedron staking, very similar to icosa staking. Create new hedron stake. We're going to max it out, and then we're going to stake it for 30 days. And what's cool is there's going to be no yield on this for 27 days. There's going to be nothing added to these stakes. These stakes are going to sit fucking dry. They're not going to earn a damn thing until this HSI auction spins up. So we've got 27 days before one auction starts. So you're going to be sitting with a yieldless stake, or I'm going to be sitting with a yieldless stake. Nothing's going to be earned on that for the next 27 days. Not a damn thing. Because there's nothing that puts the thing that puts money into the icosa stakers and the hedron stakers wallets is these HSI auctions right here. So if nobody's making HSI auctions, then if nobody's borrowing money against the contract, then nobody that's staking over here, the icosa stakers and the hedron stakers, no one's getting a damn thing. That's my understanding anyways. I could be totally wrong. But yeah, let's revisit this after 90 days.
Absolutely. So, how are we
Yes.
looking then?
Oh man, how are we looking? On what are you talking?
What more do you got to go through?
This was it that I wanted to cover with icosa, with hedron. I'll give a quick little. We could take a quick little look at iBurn since. Oh shit, actually, hang on. We've got 39 icosa. So I'll do a shout out to the Gifford folks right now. So because I just sold my my Hex stake for icosa, we're gonna use this icosa because we're silly gooses, and I'm going to lose money on stream so that you guys can watch and learn how this happens. So
You're hilarious, bro.
so here we go. Hey, it was $5, right? So what's $5? So
That could be $5 million in
a-
1 year.
it could be. It could also be like a jar of popcorn at a movie theater. But the point is,
Yeah,
like,
maybe.
I'm doing this for the stream, so that way there's a record of it. So
We are spending money to teach you.
yes, there you go.
Or
Money
more like
to
he
teach
is.
you. Hey, and this is it's fun stuff too. And this is one of the things that I've meant to talk about icosahedron on the Degen Roundtable podcast. I've meant to do this shit for man, ever since we started. And I've done like 3 or 4 like shout outs or mentions of this icosahedron protocol. Let me make sure that I covered all the things on here. So we've got the auctions, I've covered those. We've got the staking, I've covered that. We've got HSIs, I've covered that. We've got borrowing. I don't know how to do the borrowing thing.
Yeah, you
So-
said you didn't want to do the borrowing right now.
Well, I also don't know how to do it. So there's that. That's why I don't want to do it, is because I don't know how.
Okay.
I know that there is a way you can borrow against your HSI. And you borrow Hedron. I know that if you sell it to the contract, you get a Kosa, but I don't know how to borrow it. So that's something that I have to look into. So, oh, look at that. I was today years old when I learned this. Wow, that's cool. Anyways, so we're gonna go do some iBurn stuff. So shout out to the Gifford team that created iBurn. So we've got 13.9 iCosa. So we're gonna go over to the iBurn protocol. And what's cool about the iBurn protocol is that you can buy and sell things and potentially make money. So looking at iCosa, we're going to do this all in pulse value. So iCosa into pulse. So my 13 iCosa will get me 12,000 pulse. So 12,000 pulse for 14 iCosa. So we go over to iBurn. We say, hey, I've got some iCosa. Wait, what the heck? Oh, I got to connect my wallet. Do. That would probably help. It's like, why can't I see these numbers? So we've got iCosa. Hooray. So now you can send either iCosa or you can send iCosa from Ethereum. I currently don't have any iCosa from Ethereum on Pulse Chain. I only have regular iCosa. So we're going to send some iCosa to the iBurn protocol. And what it does is iCosa mints iBurn at the cost of Okay, so there's the protocol fee. So it costs 20,000 pulse to send to turn this much iCosa into this much iBurn. Now, I'm going to go ahead and approve it because that's what cool cats do. I will do the max. Oh, wow, it doesn't. Okay, there we go. Maxing it out, approving. I hit the approve on the MetaMask. We're going to scroll down here. We're going to go ahead and grab this contract address. So copy to clipboard. Hey, look at that. Wait, that's a URL. Does that mean if I go over here and I click on this and I paste it? Ooh, look at that. It gives me iBurn. Cool beans. So if I take iCosa, I can turn 13 iCosa into 11 iBurn, or I can go to the protocol and I can turn 13 iCosa and mint 13 iBurn. You mint the same amount as you create. So now I will say, in order to do this, it's going to cost 20,000 pulse. So we're going to operate at a loss because iCosa plus iBurn plus this is the total cost of the things, or excuse me, the iCosa cost plus the pulse cost is the total that we are spending so far. So we are getting rid of our iCosa. We're also getting rid of 20,000 pulse, and we are receiving 13 iBurn, right? So now, before I do this, I will show you guys the arbitrage and how it works and everything. And Nate, if I recall correctly, you and I were messing around with this when it first came out, and we were making quite a good bit of money, quite a good bit
We
of
were.
pulse.
I did it live on stream. We were literally going live, and I'm like, "Hey, look at what I found."
Yep. So we're gonna take this. So I'm gonna get the same amount of iCosa, or excuse me, I'm gonna get the same amount of iBurn as the iCosa that I put into the protocol. So there's 13.89 plus 20,000 pulse, and that will get me that thing. So if I take this iBurn, and this is my theoretical iBurn gains after I click on this mint contract button, right? So it charges me 20,000 pulse. I lose my iCosa and I get some iBurn. At the end of all of that, I am left with 13.89 iBurn, which costs which is worth, when I sell it, 15,000 pulse. So I'm already in the hole if and when, because I'm going to do it. So we'll go ahead and do it right now. So there goes 20,000 pulse. There goes 13.8 iCosa. Bam. So we're going to take that, and then we're going to mint it. So I'm hitting the confirm. So not only is it costing me the gas fee, but it's also costing me this 20,000 pulse right here. So as you guys can see, the 20,000 pulse is going to be deducted from my wallet. The iCosa is going to be deducted from my wallet. The iBurn is going to be added to my wallet. And that all that pulse that I just spent, that 20,000 pulse, that's going to get sent to another wallet that will then periodically buy and burn iBurn off of the market. So the idea is that, and there's no expectations, there's no nothing. I don't know what causes the buy and burn to buy and burn. I don't know who decides
It's
when,
just
who decides
arbitrage
where.
bots.
Is it arbitrage bots? I thought it was controlled by someone with like keys or something.
Well,
Anyways,
I
it
mean,
doesn't matter.
arbitrage
The
bots
point
are
is, the
keys,
point
but
is
it's a
that
bot, yeah.
what's that?
The bots are the ones that buy it up. So basically, you're funding bots to buy
Oh, okay.
and burn.
Well, no. I'm talking about the buy and burn for the smart contract that buys iBurn off the market and deletes it from existence.
Yes,
So
it's that, but it's also it'll also use I think it's pgif if I remember correctly. It'll burn pgif as well.
yes,
So permagif.
I think it buys GIF, and it also buys that other one. Oh, son of a bitch! It's raining out. What a pity. Oh well, I should get.
But yeah,
oh,
I also
we're gonna-
think that when you send the icosa and able to mint the iBurn, it also burns that icosa as well. So there's a lot of burning that
Yeah.
goes on with the GIF guys, right?
Yep.
These gearheads, and this is the reason why I still am so
Yeah,
supportive of
this
GIF.
icosa I just spent is gone forever, burned out of
Bye-bye.
existence. Goodbye. So there is no more 13.89 icosa, where it was just minted out of thin air by me selling my hex stake. I've taken it, and now it's gone. Poof, burned, gone forever. Continue though, Nate. You were saying something.
Yeah, no. The genius of how Gifford created this whole thing, Gifford Kinetics and Kool-Aid, is that it's a continual burning of multiple different tokens by just simply using the protocol. However, the one sacrifice that you need to make and able to burn the crap out of basically everything is the pulse. And generally, like if you were to sell that iBurn back that you minted out of thin air, right? If you were to sell that into Pulse, you have lost money now. There was a slight period of time where you would actually gain more Pulse for it. That's where the arbitrage was, right? And that's where you and I were making shit tons of money on the.
Yep.
I think I made like a full million Pulse just by clicking as fast as I could.
Yep.
But yeah. So, but the thing is, this is a forever up, and as much as people really don't want to hear that, it doesn't have to do with spikes, right? Forever up means it's always going slowly up this ramp, right?
Yep.
And so that basically it's going to be like higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, higher lows. However, if people buy into it off the market, right, then you're going to spike up and then it's going to drop back down. That's the misunderstanding that a lot of people had. And so when everyone was like, oh yeah, go buy GIF, and it has this huge spike up, and then they're like, oh, it wasn't supposed to drop. How come it dropped in money and price?
Yeah.
I'm like, it's because you were buying it off the market.
It got overbought.
That's the point.
Yeah. The hype exceeded the speed of the protocol, but the protocol was working while people were also buying it. So it was like this. It was a strange like flywheel momentum thing that as soon as the people stopped buying it, then that's when like everyone expecting to just sell it for riches just kind of like is like, oh shit, this is a silly goose thing.
By the way, so for all of those who are still with us, I have a special treat for you guys just before we close. So go ahead, keep watching, and yeah, this is going to be really, really fun and interesting for you guys to look at. All right.
So I've gone ahead and taken that iBurn and I've sold it into Pulse. And as you guys saw a second ago, I had 13.89 iBurn, and it sold for 15,000 Pulse. As you guys might recall, it cost me. Let me see. iBurn, there it is. It cost me 20,000 Pulse in order to do this transaction. So, like, not only did I lose the icosa, but I also did not get back as much Pulse as I had spent on just doing the transaction. So right now, this is not a lucrative thing to do to make money using the. Oh, look at this decentralized buy and burn. Oh wow, look at that. iBurn burnt supply. Oh, there's currently. Oh, iBurn total supply. Wow, look at that. Oh, none has been burnt yet. Oh, that's interesting. Burns every 3 minutes. Huh. Well, I'll be damned. That's pretty cool. Oh, and you can execute. Oh, wait. Huh. This doesn't make any sense. I don't know what all that is. This thing is,
We'll figure it out later.
Pretty new. Anyways, yeah, that's irrelevant. So the point is, I lost 5,000 Pulse just from the protocol fee. So like if after everything is said and done, I went over here and so let's see, it was 13.9 iBurn. Let's see what 13.9 ICOSA costs. ICSA. So 13.9 ICOSA costs 12,000 PLS. So 12,000 plus the 20,000 is 32. So if the time that this flywheel works is when you go to the IBU. There we are. When you go to this token, when this number down here equals the price of the asset plus the price of the fee, when it's greater than that, then that means there's an arbitrage opportunity. So when it's lower than that, then that means you lose money by using the protocol, which is what I just did to educate you guys. So that is all that I have on this subject. Nate, do you have any final thoughts? I'm gonna go ahead and take out share screen here. And oh, look, it's just the two of us, just us chickens. Let me put up our background right here. Oh, we've got a panel. Hang on.
We can make it if we try.
Yeah. All right. So, final thoughts before we do close out and end the stream and all that good stuff.
So, final thoughts. If you want to go ahead and bring up my screen here.
Screen. Yep. There we go.
Yeah. All right. So now,
this is you have StreamYard shared.
I have StreamYard share.
Yeah.
Oh, did it do that? What the hell? No, that is not what I wanted to do.
That's all good.
That was the wrong window, and I apologize.
Nah, changing to generic background now.
Oh wait, it's over here. Ha ha, that's funny. Okay, here's the screen. So I wanted to share the entire screen, right? Now you can see that?
Yes. All right, there we go.
There we go. All right, awesome. So now this here is the price of Pulse. So number one, like oh my god, we are so cheap. Oh, this is juicy.
TA right now?
Juicy. Nope. I just wanted to show just how low we are on Pulse, right? And everybody's gonna sit here and be like, oh no, it's painful because the price is so low. And meanwhile, I'm over here sitting here like, it's super juicy. It's very it is very low. Okay. Now let's go ahead and let's go ahead and look at something interesting. So we go over here to Gold Pulse, right? We do the bubbles, right? And then we look at the liquidity. Now let's look at the liquidity here. Obviously, we've got wrapped Ethereum, which wrapped Ethereum is waiting to go up in price and able to rotate into all the rest of these, right? So this is the entirety of the liquidity on Pulse chain, right? Obviously, the biggest ones are Ink, Pulse, PulseX, and Hex, right? And then this Ethereum is going to rotate into all of these. So that's 16 million alone that's going to rotate. Now, if we were to look at the full, how much liquidity is actually in the Pulse chain alone, or sorry, the whole economy.
Are you talking about the stablecoins? Like how many stablecoins people can buy things?
No. I'm actually talking about how much liquidity is actually in all of these coins together, right?
Oh, okay,
apologies, it's late at night. Okay. But so with that being said, it's probably even including the ETH, not assuming the ETH is just gonna go into the rest of these, right? We're looking at probably about 120 million. All right. 120 million in just overall liquidity. Now, let's go over here to DeFi Llama. All right. And DeFi Llama, we're going to look up Pulse Chain. Okay. And we're going to look up the stable coins. Now, as you can tell here, over here, and when was this? It was right around April, right? We had a huge spike in the amount of stable coins. And hilariously enough, this is when Richard Hart started throwing his, what was the sacrifice wallet in, right? Now, everybody took a lot of profits from that. Okay. And now, we've been slowly leaking stablecoins, but look at how much stablecoins we still have sitting in the ecosystem. Like just about 65.
For that. That's genius, bro.
So, yeah, just about 65 million. Now I want you to think about this. We have 120 million, give or take a few million, in coin liquidity. Now there's 65 million, which is a third of the entirety of the liquidity of the whole ecosystem sitting around, just sitting around waiting. This is not Richard Hart's money, by the way, because that stuff is other whales, and that's only on Pulse Chain. That's not including what's over in Ethereum. Like Richard Hart's stuff, his is over in Ethereum right now, not Pulse Chain.
When you went over to DeFi Llama there, this is TVL, total value locked. This is stable coins in people's wallets. This isn't stable coins in liquidity pools.
Correct. This here is just sitting around, right? It's waiting to be deployed. Okay. Yeah. So there's a lot of money sitting around waiting to take off. So I'm going to come back over here, looking at the price of Pulse, and I want everyone to think for 1 second that the current dilution rate and complete price of everything in all of Pulse Chain, a third of it is sitting around doing nothing. A full third is sitting around doing nothing. Look at the complete cost of everything going down like this, even though it's all connected to Ethereum and Ethereum's way down. Now, when Ethereum starts taking off like that, and then a third of the entirety of the liquidity, remember, for every 10x on liquidity is 100x on price. So what is going to happen when a third, 33%, right, of the entirety of the liquidity starts deploying into all of the tokens in all of Pulse Chain? I don't want to sit here. I don't want to hear you people getting angry about the price of freaking Pulse Chain anymore. No, the whole community needs to have absolute hope. Absolute hope in where we are going from here.
I'm just going to leave us on this. Ooh, we can do that background. There we go. Look at that. Nice and evil. Yeah. Equal, nice and even. I like it. So the bottom line up front is there's a ton of money sitting around doing nothing, ready to thank you, Mrs. Producer. I don't know how you did that. That was cool. There's a ton of liquidity sitting around, or not liquidity, excuse me. There's a ton of dry powder. There's a ton of dry powder sitting around waiting to do stuff, and we don't know what it's going to do, but like, what do people do with stable coins? They maybe spend them. They maybe put them in liquidity pools. They maybe do stuff. So there's a whole bunch of theoretical potential energy that could be thrown around, and that sounds like some pretty cool information to me.
It's very cool, and also I waited until the very end for this because I know that people have been dropping off, and so for you that are still you're the most committed to watching us right now, and I just gave you a very special treat.
There you go. Excellent. Outstanding. Thank you, Nate.
And with that, I think it's time for us to close out.
I think it is time for us to do wrap-ups indeed. Nate, where can the folks find you, and what have you got going on in the near future, my friend?
Well, I am a Nate McGetted, the Ascending Man with Degen Roundtable. And I am, I'm going to be tweeting a lot. I've got a whole thing. I actually just let Access know about this, but I'm going to be doing a whole guide on the sub-communities of Pulse Chain and kind of what I would consider to be probably the most bang for your buck on X's, as well as as far as like taking risk and everything. Basically, the best coins that you can buy to gain an extreme amount of X's for this bull run. It's going to be a series of tweets. Heck, after the series of tweets, if people really want to, I know Access has been talking to me about this, but maybe I'll do a show on it over on my Ascending Man channel, right? So yeah, and the other thing too is I'm looking at creating a new show on the Ascending Man channel for specifically project related stuff. I know we really don't for the Degen Roundtable, we really don't want to be associated with shilling, right? Other tokens and things like that, projects, but I think it is something that is necessary, but it can be a little bit difficult to try and put yourself out there for that. Right now, it seems like we really only have Corey Costa for that, and that's generally about it. So yes, I do want to put together a show like that. We'll see what happens with it, right? However, yeah. Other than that, there's a lot of other things going on here, so I will not waste any more time. I'll just go ahead and send it right over to the producer.
Excellent. All right. You guys can find all of my socials at will.pls.fyi. That's and I've dropped the link to my socials, to Nate's socials, and also to Agent J, who joined us for the show as well. So if you guys want to find anything that we do, then you can check it out there. Those are our X's and those are our links and other stuff. For let me see, what are the announcements? We've got special guests coming up this Wednesday. I can't remember if we've announced it. If we have announced it, then that's who it is.
We have Coach X coming up.
Oh, that's right. Yes,
Coach X with the Grays currency and everything, and then there's somebody else who's going to be joining into there in that show as well. So look forward to it. I'm not going to announce that one. That's a surprise for you guys, but I'll tell you what, it's going to be a fantastic show. Coach X is an absolutely fantastic guy. He's a smart motherfucker too. That dude. And the Grays currency has so many different tokenomics to it that has inspired GIF, right? It's inspired the Solid Index. It's inspired Atropa. It started with the Grays currency. So, guys, you need to tune in this Wednesday. It's gonna be fan-fucking-tastic.
Excellent. I like it. And then after that, for book club, I will be hosting the book club that we're doing on Friday, and it's going to be covering Building a Second Brain by Tiago Forte, an excellent book and an outstanding book. In fact, I would highly recommend that you guys join the Degen Roundtable Book Club. So I'll go ahead and drop that link down there in the chats as well. Hop on over into there. It is t.me/Degen Book Club. You guys can see what all we talk about over there. Reminder, we go live 8 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday with guests, Friday with books, and Sundays with news and information. So you guys can catch us all here at youtube.com/@Degen Roundtable. My name is Will Stevenson. His name is Nate McGettit. And I want to say thank you all for spending your valuable time with us here on the Degen Roundtable. As Agent J often says, we know that time is your most valuable asset, and we appreciate you investing that time here with us. Oh, shoot. I just lost my script. Dang it. I was reading the script. Okay. We know that we appreciate you spending that time here with us. I'm the producer, so I got to go ahead and get my trigger finger ready. Let's see if I can do this right here, right now.
Don't fuck it up, man.
I got this one, Mrs. McGettit. No sweat, no problems. All right. So
she's watching.
Go ahead and getting that trigger figure ready. And I want to remind all the folks at home to degen responsibly.
Will, I hate you.